You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Welcome back, everybody. It's episode 97 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. My name's Kyle.
My name's Corey.
And I'm back.
Woo! He's back. Back again.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing
What's
good.
going on? I knew it, James. I just knew it. This trailer dropped, and what happened, James? You got broke, eh? Just like the rest of us.
You couldn't keep me away after that trailer. I will say, I don't know that I've ever been more pumped after a trailer for a movie. That one's really right up there amongst like most effective trailers at getting me psyched and pumped up for any movie. I'm not just talking about Star Wars either.
That's amazing.
Any movie
coming from James, like that says a lot.
I thought it was a good one.
It was fantastic. Anyway, we're going to be talking a ton about the trailer again this week. I don't know that a trailer has ever generated more conversation. This thing's got everybody in fandom's heads spinning like a top. So, once again, for another week, we're going to really hit hard on this trailer. But let's catch up, James. It's been a while, obviously. So let's see what's been going on with you.
9 episodes. I think 88 was my last time. I remember sort of making an Eric Lindros mental note that I did 88, and then I was out for a while. So yeah, what's going on with me? School started. We're in deep into fall now, October. Corn season. Although now that I'm back on the show, I'll say that a lot of people think the fall have the corniest months, but the corniest month, well, you know what it is, right? May is.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Anyway,
guess who's back?
Does that make more sense if you know French?
Probably. Although I think it's like also if you've studied
I think it's Spanish and stuff too.
No. Amerindian, native Amerindians, I think also they know about the Mayas.
All right.
But maybe not. Maybe that flew over a lot of people's heads, and that's okay too. But deep into the school year, and baseball season's over, and now I got time to listen to podcasts and miss you guys.
Yeah, man, you've been missed for sure. We've gotten comments here and there. Oh man, we missed James. But glad to have you back, at least for 1 week anyway.
Yeah, no, I ducked back in. I hit Kyle up with a message this week after the trailer dropped and said, if you need an extra voice on the show, I got a few things I could definitely say. And so here we are. But it's not going to be a regular thing, but I will, like I said when I left, I will jump on from time to time when it's appropriate. And this week we got some stuff to talk about.
Sounds like you need some therapy, James.
Don't say it. Don't say Dr. Z.
There you go. You said it for me. I'm happy. Lay it on us.
Well, James, I don't know if I told you, but I do have your ticket.
I'm aware that tickets were purchased, and so I'm glad to hear one of them's earmarked for me. I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too.
I bought a half dozen tickets. They're all spoken for.
I heard it was a process again, so I know you talked about that a little bit already, but I'm just going to put it back out there. Shame on Cineplex.
Jeez. Every year, it's something.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, it kind of gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, right. Sure, Corey. This is Corey's anxiety. Kyle, do we have them yet? Okay, I'm just going downstairs and crack another beer and hit you back in 10 minutes. Kyle, do we have them yet?
Yeah, but I'm pacing that whole time.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Nope. Not gonna go there.
We're doing dinner, right?
You guys are. I'm gonna show up just like last year. I checked my daughter's calendar, and yep, her Christmas recital is the same night yet again. So, I'll be there as soon as I can, but I'll probably have to shove a little bit of appetizer food into my face.
What's the principal's name at that elementary school? Is it Palpatine or Sidious?
Tyrannus.
What's going on with that?
It's Mr. R. Anyway, you guys are getting me all worked up here with Cineplex and Christmas concerts. I kind of want to just like not podcast now.
And fancy dinners that you don't get to come to. What a shame.
He'll get there late. What time's the show? What time are our tickets?
9:30. We got time.
Yeah, the same thing happened last time. You were there in plenty of time.
Yeah. It's I wanted to have like a couple. I wanted to have like a good 2 hours with you guys. Now I'm gonna have to settle for like a good 1 hour.
Yeah, we'll make it a quality hour, Kyle.
That brings warm feelings to my heart.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Like seriously, like I've said this to Kyle, James. You've been listening to the show, listeners of the show. Like everybody, I don't know. There's something behind this movie that I don't know. I really feel like I'm riding this wave, man. Like, and it's just gonna like crash on the shore on December 14th. You know.
Oh, that's like good imagery for the what we've seen from the trailer too. Hey, while we're sort of here, I wanted to say a couple of things before we jump into trailer talk. First of all, congratulations to you guys for the Patreon and having 12 or 14 different shows. How many is it now? 27?
Well, thank you.
As we're talking, it's climbing, you know. No, but yeah, way to go, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, we're up to 6. And mind you, a couple of them are monthly. And one of them is going to be even less frequent than that. So Saber Rattling is going to be whenever something cool and unique comes along and I can line up some kind of interview or something very random and cram it in there. Fork that over to the powerful friends.
No, I think it's cool. And obviously the Rebels talk, is sort of earmarked for ending at a finite point as well. But still, 6 pods on the go, man. That's a lot of balls in the air.
It is. It certainly is. Yeah. Well, that show will transition into something else. I guess we'll get into Clone Wars, Forces of Destiny, and the old Clone Wars stuff, the Tartakovsky stuff. Yeah, all other Star Wars animated stuff.
Amazing.
We'll do that in the interim between Rebels and whatever comes next from Dave Filoni.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get interesting there because there's gonna be quite the hiatus, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I don't know how frequently we'll do it, but that will depend on M, who of course just joined the team and is helping us out on that aspect. So again, welcome to M. If you haven't followed M, it's emalum52 on Twitter, and also if you didn't know, Carlos Candido has joined us on Sith Disturbers.
Of course, I knew. That's like the biggest. That is the most obvious. Thing that, like, the day I left, I think I said to you, if you're going to replace me, it seems like Candido would be the guy, especially for a show like Sith Disturbers. Or maybe you said that. You said, yeah, especially for a show like Sith Disturbers, we'll see what shakes out. So, like, to me, that just made all kinds of sense for a perfect fit for you guys on that show.
Yeah, I mean, he just slides right in there. It's perfect. And yeah, it took us a while to get our feet beneath us again as we ramped up with more content and stuff like that. But yeah, things are clicking into place. I like the team as it's building up, and the content is like a bit of an avalanche now. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie, but it's a lot of fun.
You're doing a good job, and like Carlos was on last week, and yeah, we did our first episode, and it was super fun.
As always,
yeah, like herding cats. So I hear.
And also on the Patreon front, thanks to Steve, soon to be Steve Emerson, with his upcoming nuptials. He has become a powerful friend, so thank you very much, Steve, on that. And
Steve, I want to say that's an awesome name, and it reminds me of one of my favorite lyrical poems. Look up Watsky, and he does something. He does a poem called Lisp. And Emerson's a prominent name in it. Anyways, check that out. It's really cool. And congratulations.
Yeah, congrats to both you and Dan. That's coming up, I guess, this coming week. And wow, man, a lot of stuff happening. Rebels is starting up. So anybody who listens to this podcast, as it hits your podcast feed, just know that right about now, I'm sitting with my feet up watching Rebels in quiet, enjoying the Heroes of Mandalore. That's going to be nice. I'm so stoked for Rebels to come back.
Yeah, it's like Rebels Eve.
It is.
It's the last one, man. It's the last season.
So, Corey, you're...
Yeah, but you said that before, by the way. But this really is the last season.
This is confirmed now. It's definitely the last season. And we won't know what's coming for a good long while, I would suspect. I think next celebration is in 2019. And I don't know that they're going to let us in on anything until then.
No, I heard they've got to let go of 3 directors before they're releasing that news.
All right, Corey, collecting update. Anything new with you this weekend?
I went on the hunt. I went to my regular honey hole. None of the second wave and 6-inch. Quite disappointed. I hit up a couple of places this week. Nothing. Then finally I went over to EB Games. I found a nice little score. I won't necessarily say what it was. And then I called my big bro and I was like, I found a very powerful gift. Hint, hint. And I don't know. Kyle might have hooked something up, but I did purchase. I don't know why, and it got in my head about a month and a half ago, and especially now that he's not on the pegs anymore. He's like nowhere to be found anymore, and he was so plentiful at one point. But Constable Zuvio, I had to go and pick one up.
What?
Yeah.
I guess he is sort of a curiosity now.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's like, why? Like, he's not even in the movie, and they made a 6-inch of him. Like obviously his role got written out last minute, I would think. And yeah, it's a curiosity, like you said. So I had to have that curiosity.
Well, congratulations,
Corey. We should go hit that one together in Hawkesbury, man. If there was a second wave of stuff, we should go hit that Walmart in Hawkesbury. I'm telling you, I bet you there's a ton of stuff on the peg still.
I'm always down for a little Star Wars toy collecting road trip.
And then we can go to La Belle de Boeuf, because I don't know if you noticed, but Facebook says you owe me and Kyle a hamburger.
So like you alluded to, Corey, I did pick something up for our powerful friends. It's something kind of coveted right now.
Is it blue?
It is sort of translucent blue. It is from the Black Series. I might put a snap of it on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or all the above. But yeah, we got a powerful gift for our powerful friends. More powerful than you can possibly imagine. Is that enough of a hint?
Yeah,
I think so.
I would think so. What do you think, James? You like that one? Have you seen photos of that?
You're gonna spoil it. You're gonna spoil it now, Corey.
No, but that's his job. That's what he does.
Well, I think you just.
You're the worst, Corey. The worst.
Well, I was waiting for you to spoil it. I asked you if you'd seen it. You could just say yes or no.
I have seen it, yes.
Because yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, gives me the warm and fuzzies.
And you know what? The most important update of the weekend. I now know where Corey lives.
Hey, there you go.
Time to move, Corey.
Yeah, the jig is up. All right, so we'll stop babbling now. So let's talk about what little Star Wars news there was. And before, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk almost exclusively about the trailer again this week. But before we do, sort of a drop, a hint at the drop of the Han Solo title is coming, and a lot of people are saying a teaser is going to be dropped in with The Last Jedi. Does that make sense to you guys?
It makes tons of sense to me.
Yeah, it makes all kinds of sense, I think. I mean, we're so close now, you know?
Yeah. I thought
if there was another major Marvel movie coming out between now and then, I'd say, like remember Doctor Strange came out at around, I don't know, a couple weeks from now, leading up to the last. So it had the last sort of teasers at stuff, but there's no Marvel. I don't think there's a big Marvel movie coming out between now and Last Jedi, is it?
Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
Oh well,
that's going up against Justice League.
It might have something.
But, just thinking about this, what's really interesting. In the past couple of weeks, I think I've checked at least 2 or 3 times on the Han Solo project and its release date, because I'm still kind of almost in shock about that. Think about it, man. We're getting The Last Jedi really soon. Han Solo is not even done filming yet. They're close, but either way, it's going to be we're going to see Star Wars this December, and we're probably going to see it multiple times. And even if you want, it's probably going to still be in theaters in possibly, most likely March, possibly April.
Well,
so you can see
if it follows the same pattern as Rogue One and The Force Awakens, it will be out of theaters by early March, and then we wait for the DVD like the first week of April.
Okay, so put it that way. Okay, even if it's just March, like not even 2 months later, we're gonna be back in the theater. Like you could watch it on like one of the last days it's in theater, and then, man, it's gonna be 2 months apart. It's crazy.
You think they're going to hold that date?
I don't think they can push it at this point. They've stuck so firmly to it, and maybe Ron Howard's like really committed to the project and said, no, we can do this. You know, as long as it seems like people are already starting to put bits and pieces together behind the scenes, and he's just wrapping up on filming now, just really tying some loose ends, it looks like. And then he can jump head on into that. And, you know, if they got the right team in place with the right vision and it's all properly organized, then I don't see why it can't be done.
Well, it almost sounds like they're shooting and editing on the fly. So they're piecing the movie together as they go instead of getting all this raw footage and then shaping it. I could be wrong, but that's the impression I get now, that they shoot, they edit, and on to post-production that bit of film goes.
Yeah, that could be a symptom of not shooting entirely from scratch, because they already have footage that, that I'm sure a lot of it ended up getting cut, but from what I understand, some of it's also getting used. So maybe it makes it easier to edit on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, well, considering he's still going, I mean, this is 3 months now. And he's still going. This could go on for 3.5, maybe 4 months. I got to think that Lord and Miller, there'll be no trace of them. I mean, we might get some footage that they shot, but as far as credits go, I think they're done. It's over.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, I'm glad. I'm sure they'll still get paid. But yeah, there'll be sort of footnotes in Star Wars history after a while. So anyway, we're being told that the title could be called Han Solo: A Star Wars Story, but also that
Boo.
It's kind of boring.
They made us wait this long for that. At this point, I need something.
Yeah, it's got to be. I would hope if it's going to be something that kind of bland, then it better be attached to the trailer. Like, we better get the trailer at the same time to, sweeten up that announcement. But the way I'm looking at this is, if they're going to attach the Han Solo trailer to The Last Jedi, on one hand, I think there's a danger that Han Solo trailer gets kind of washed away and forgotten a little bit. But on the other hand, and where I think I lean to more, that given the controversy surrounding the film, that attaching it to The Last Jedi is probably the best way to capture fans while they're in the best mood they're going to be in for a long time. And then, like, once they leave the theater, they leave and they go, oh, what a great movie The Last Jedi was, and oh, geez, we also got a Han Solo teaser. How cool was that? And then suddenly the tone of the conversation surrounding that movie takes a big shift towards the positive.
That's possible, or it could be like a big overload at the same time too. Like, after watching The Last Jedi, I think there's a good chance that our brains are going to be like spinning a bit,
A bit.
Well, yeah. And so then even trying to remember, like, what happened in that Han Solo trailer? Well, we know it's coming out, but
that's what I mean. Again, like, there's the big disclaimer here that Star Wars doesn't need really to be marketed. We'll be there anyway, but yeah, there is that danger, I think, that attaching it to The Last Jedi kind of dooms it to be a little bit forgotten. James, you have a take?
I could go everything. I agree with everything. I'm just shaking my head here. Yes. I'm nodding along as you bring up different scenarios. I agree with the idea that it could pay off to put it right before the movie, in the sense, like, you're giving it to the audience in the most receptive mood. The one little downside of that is, if the movie doesn't do as well as you think, it's like a double-edged sword, then maybe your preview doesn't do as well as you think too. But I don't think that's going to happen. But at the same time, like, it almost seems like a bit of a lost opportunity. Like, you already have all your Star Wars fans in one place, and Star Wars fans are so keen that they run out and see movies just for previews. I don't know.
We have been known
From
to
a marketing
do that.
standpoint, it seems like maybe just a bit of a miss,
I kind of see what you're saying there as well. Like, Disney kind of likes to seize the day, and they did it with what was it? D23 was their own event this year, and something like they basically, it's true. Like, rule the calendar as much as you can. Don't just put it out on one day. When you can, let the Last Jedi breathe a bit, and then give Han Solo its own breathing space maybe a little later, like on I don't know, a certain holiday or.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Look, there's people smarter than you, the three of us put together, making these decisions for sure, right? So they thought about all this stuff, and they've got a reason to do it whenever they're going to do it. But that's my only hesitation when I heard you guys sort of talking about it. I'm like, wow, that's a bit surprising, just because, like, we're already all there, and we've paid our tickets, and you've got us. So, you don't have to give us that. I mean, it's nice. Maybe they're just being really cool to their fans. That's all. That's another way to look at it, which is like maybe the most positive way.
Yeah. Well, do you think they're being really coy too, in the sense that like the title of the Han Solo film, like you said, we've heard rumors of what it might be, but do you think they penned this amazing script? Supposedly, we heard that the script was extraordinary. So that being the case, you would think that maybe the script came with a title already. Like they've possibly had this title in pocket this whole time.
If so, and it's Han Solo, that's the name of it. I just don't understand why keep it till now. Like, I don't know.
I've heard Solo.
Possible.
Just Solo was a rumor that was out there for a while.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't think they're gonna blow our doors off with the title of the movie. I think it's gonna be something pretty. I don't want to say substandard, but it's not gonna be this exciting, earth-shaking title. At least that's the sense I get.
You guys want to venture any guesses?
No.
James?
No.
No?
Han Solo? Sounds like it's what it's going to be. Star Wars story?
I'd prefer Solo, to be honest, over that.
Whatever.
What about Solo Run?
Solo Run?
Yeah, or Solo's Run.
Sounds like a sneaker.
What if the movie was called Kessel Run?
I was thinking about that too. I had Idiots Array written down as well, but it's kind of been done.
I don't think you should put idiot in the title.
Yeah, no, it's probably a bad move.
Exactly. Yeah, it's scratched out. But I prefer almost more the adventures of Han Solo or something,
Sounds like a teen lit.
I wonder if they're trying to keep naming conventions consistent across the standalone films. So Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Han Solo, a Star Wars story. And if the movies will follow the same prologue and then fast forward X number of years. I wonder if they want to keep that formula, because we've definitely heard that about the Han Solo movie, that it starts when he's 18 and the meat of the movie is when he's in his mid-20s. So I wonder if that's a formula they intentionally want to follow.
It's possible.
Yeah, it could be.
It makes sense for Han because, there's so much to get done there. And it looks like they're just jam-packing this story with different themes throughout his life.
Yeah, they're putting a lot into this movie. I wonder if they're not trying to get too much stuff in there.
Never.
You just want all the fan service, huh?
Not all of it, but definitely what I've heard so far, I'm liking a lot. We've said it from the beginning. All the stuff that, should be there seems to be there. We got Kessel, Chewie, Lando. Those are some pretty big things, man. Hopefully, Jabba.
How are they going to address him shooting first in this movie? It's going to come up.
I hope so.
How are they going to address that? What's the gag going to be?
And wait for the clickbait sites to turn it into an attack on George Lucas.
Yeah, I remember Kyle saying that they wouldn't do it just because they wouldn't want that kind of attitude, toward George Lucas or whatever.
They got to address it almost, I think.
I've thought about it.
It's the thing people say.
I could totally see it, Woody Harrelson and them, being in a scene, and, something super crazy happening, both of them almost getting, nailed, and then him being like, I told you, always shoot first.
Yeah, or Han being like, what just happened? He'd be like, what, I shot first, what?
Or even some smuggler scoundrel they meet along the way, they're chilling with him and the guy just kills two people, bang bang, and then he's like, like learn from me, kid, kind of in a way, like always shoot first.
Yeah, you could say something that sticks with him, like you can shoot first or be dead.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm looking forward to that Han Solo teaser. Possibly, I'll say possibly with The Last Jedi. I think it makes sense with the time crunch between the two movies. They're going to have to get after it, so why not? All right, so the poster for The Last Jedi was also released last week. Minutes before, or was it about an hour before the trailer dropped? And they had a tough act.
That makes sense.
They had a tough act to follow with the teaser poster from Celebration. So James, I'll kick this over to you first. What were your thoughts on the poster?
Well, when I first saw it, I sent you guys a text right away. And for me, for some reason, on my very first glimpse, like Leia really stood out to me as front and center. Like I didn't even see Luke at the top. I just saw Leia right in the middle. And actually, I was a bit, I'm not going to say I was put off, but I was like, I sort of wondered if it felt forced, pun intended. I just wondered if it was like too much, portraying her too much. So I asked you guys, and you both sort of said that you thought it was fitting. She's, one of the main characters. And the more I looked at the poster, the more she sort of faded into it. She wasn't so prominent the more I looked at it. And I really liked the poster. But yeah, that was my first impression. I sort of wondered if it was like
a little bit contrived.
Yeah, and not coming from a bad place, even just like coming from a place of the art department maybe being too close, like because I wondered if she deserved to. I might take some heat here, but I wonder if Leia's character is so prominent. Maybe it is in the movie. I don't know. It looks like it from that trailer actually that I saw an hour later, but it seemed a bit forced to me, and I wasn't sure if that felt right or not. But everybody else I talked to sort of talked me off that little ledge, and I quite like the poster.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It is. The more I see it, the more I tend to like it a little bit more. I still like the teaser poster a lot better. But this again, I think is a huge improvement.
Yeah, it's starting to like carry through with the theme that we've seen in the past posters. Like the teaser poster was just kind of on another level a bit there, but this kind of seemed to fall into the flow or the theme of what we've been seeing. And I don't know, man. The thing with Leia, I didn't really see it that way either. Like I think she's gonna be a focal point for sure for a lot of the characters. So it's good to keep her front and center.
And then later on during the week, I don't know if this is a case of looking too deeply into things, but somebody...
Yep.
There we go. Moving on. But no, we didn't really get to talk about this. So the idea of embedding, like subliminally embedding the image of Vader's face in the poster itself. And somebody went out there and sketched a couple of eyes and the contour of the helmet, Leia being the nose of Vader's breathing mask, and then the triangular shape of his mouthpiece, and saying, well, there you go. There's the shadow of Vader in this poster. I look at it now, I don't see it. I even with the lines traced around it, I think it's too much of a reach. James, obviously you agree, right?
They forced the important lines. Yeah, the only one that's there, the only shape that your eye does naturally is the top of Vader's helmet with Luke's shape up there. Everything else is just placement. Yes, there's a character in the middle, but you have to force that triangular. You have to force everything else, and if you don't have someone penciling it over, you don't see it, or at least I don't. And I think it's a question of like, playing the cloud game. Oh, does that look like a bear climbing a tree? Oh, now it does that you say that, kind of thing. But it's not, I just don't think, and maybe one day the artist will come out and say, yeah, absolutely, that was intentional. But until that happens, I'm going to go ahead and say, no, you have to want to see it for it to be there.
What do you think, Corey? We never spoke about this either.
Yeah, it does kind of seem a little tin hatty, but it is, I'll put it this way, it's almost, because it's all symmetrical, right? It does seem a bit contrived to me, though. It's a bit of a reach. But I mean,
it's cool.
I could see it. Like, I still see it once it's drawn there. Like, I mean, it's just so vague that...
Someone flipped it upside down and
Drew Jar
and
Jar?
Drew Jar Jar. Did you see that?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just as convincing. It's just as,
people started doing
just
all
as
kinds of
convincing.
different like iterations of it with virtually any face on it, and it just became ridiculous after a while. Because I think it's the only shape to me that pops out is the triangular portion of Leia, Finn, Poe. That works out for me, but Rey and Kylo as the eyes, Luke as the helmet, I really don't see it that way.
I almost, when I saw it, I was like, like, I wanted to believe it in a way, because I'd like for Anakin to have some kind of role in this, to play some kind of part, aside from knowing what he's done to Kylo or whatever, like, hopefully that he has speaking lines or even a Force Ghost appearance in this film, like. It was intriguing, but I think it's a reach. If
only used Skywalkers and Force users on the poster, I might think maybe a little bit differently. But because you're relying on Finn and Poe, and I guess to lesser extents Chewbacca's there, Phasma, the droids, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't get it. But you know what? Like you said, James, if the artist one day comes out and goes, "Yeah, that was totally intentional," and you guys debated it, and that was the whole point. Is it or isn't it? I mean, I guess we'll wait, but I really don't see it.
No, it's highly unlikely.
All right, so let's get into our further thoughts on this trailer. James, we don't have your take yet, but just a quick stat on this. So this trailer was watched in the first 24 hours, a ridiculous 120.1 million views online worldwide, wow, according to StarWars.com.
That's amazing.
But
like 30 of those are mine.
Yeah, probably same here. I don't know if it's counted as unique views or like total views. I guess total's 120.1. I don't know. Anyway, it's not just from YouTube, it's from all kind of different sources, so I don't know how they compile this. But yeah, get this. The record was set by It, and that was a trailer that was watched 197 million times.
Holy cow.
That was a good trailer.
It was a good trailer.
That is
not as good as this
staggering number. And that number grew to almost 250 million in 36 hours. That's crazy talk. The fate of
That's a very nostalgic film for a lot of people, including myself.
Really? I guess so.
Oh, yeah, before
my time. That's one of the first books I ever read when I was probably like 13 when I read it, because I watched the movie first, read the book, and next thing you know, like right near where Kyle used to live, or where we used to live, then Kyle moved in the same general area, there was like these sewers that were big enough to walk in, right? Like, wow, man. We were crazy. Like, so fun back then.
And then other prominent movies, The Fate of the Furious, 139 million views, Thor Ragnarok, 136, and Beauty and the Beast, 127.6. So all those movies still did better than the Last Jedi trailer, which is crazy. People love trailers.
Funny is that Thor trailer did well just for that Hulk scene. People just love that. I know him. He's a buddy of mine. We work together.
That movie's gonna. Supposedly, James Gunn went to go to the premiere the other day, last week, and he said it's the funniest Marvel film he's ever seen.
Nice.
It looks really fun. It's the only Thor movie that I'm considering going to see in theater.
Oh yeah.
The other two were straight rentals for me.
They also said that Jeff Goldblum's character is their new favorite Marvel character in the entire MCU.
Whoa. Okay. That's
a big
crazy.
Statement.
Yeah, he was sitting beside Jon Favreau, and they said they couldn't stop laughing the whole night.
All right. Well, they're selling me on this. All right, so James, let's get your thoughts on the trailer, because it's the whole reason why you needed to come back and get some things off your chest today. So, what are your big takeaways? What were your first impressions? Were you freaking out like the rest of us?
Yes, definitely freaking out. What were my big takeaways? Well, so it evolved as I watched it more and more, because the first watch through, you sort of take everything at face value, or at least I did much more than on further viewings, right? Like, not that I'm not aware when I watch any trailer that they're showing me the version of things that they want to, but I wasn't looking at it nearly as critically on the first view as I did, on the 10th. So on the first view, the dialogue, I thought, where it seems like Snoke is speaking about or to Kylo, and then Luke is speaking to Rey in sort of the same tone. I thought that was sort of really cool, contrasting setup of this big rivalry. I say looks like because I've later come around to sort of think that dialogue that Snoke's talking at the beginning may be directed at Rey and not Kylo. But we'll talk about that a little later on. The thing that stood out to me most was how the last scene where Kylo and her are having that really tranquil moment amidst total chaos and disaster. Like, you've got the obvious aftermath of some sort of fire explosion, something really bad is happening, embers are falling everywhere, but there's like no music, it's super quiet, it's just calm dialogue where she's like, I need to know my place in all this, and he reaches his hand out. That part of the trailer really has spent the most time in my head making me think, what's their relationship? How are they gonna set this up? What are they gonna deliver to us? And I've got a whole bunch of new ideas on that because of this trailer. And I'll also say, like I sort of started off with, I've never been more excited for a movie. I don't think ever. Maybe the first Lord of the Rings trailer that I ever saw. Those are the two that stand out for me. Is like I was just so I wanted to see the movie immediately. And it had been lying much lower on my radar until then.
Well, yeah, because you were kind of washed in not doubts, but you definitely had your fears and anxieties about what they were going to do or potentially do with this movie. And so
well, that's something. Yeah, you're right, and that's something. I remember I sent a text to you. I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I was like, something interesting has happened since I've stepped away from the show about like how I'm sort of seeing Star Wars. I realized that doing the show with Corey. was sort of like being like having a girlfriend that had different views than you, and like when you're sort of neutral on something, and like the person that you spend a lot of time with takes one side, you find yourself arguing the other because you could go sort of either way. I don't know if that sort of makes sense.
Sure.
But Corey is so gung ho and like has so much blind faith that he'll love everything in Star Wars. I found myself questioning things for him doing the show, like challenging things that maybe I wouldn't, but like I just found myself doing it because he was like, no, that's going to be amazing. Nothing could possibly be wrong about that. And I'm like, well, this could be wrong, or this could go wrong, or this could be, not everything's perfect. Anyways, so I realized
a certain scar.
Yeah, there's a complaint you actually have. But I realized after stepping away from the show that I'm much more keen on everything than I sort of talked myself into. I'm much more open to letting them do whatever they want with like things that I thought I didn't want them to touch. Like the whole Jedi thing has become much less important to me, even after this trailer too. The whole like the direction they take and who's most powerful and even what they do with like the Chosen One. Like it seems like they're setting up these two to be, when Luke, for example, when Luke says, "I've only seen this kind of raw strength once before." If he's talking about Kylo, then they've reset the power level for Jedi in this trilogy because that he battled Vader, and Vader was supposed to be the benchmark in the universe, right? So if these two are on a whole other plane, if they've gone Super Saiyan, then I thought that would have bothered old me, and I'm sort of okay with it. I'm like, all right, let's see where they take that.
I like what you say there about Super Saiyan.
Well, I wonder if there's something in the wording of raw strength. Because Vader wasn't raw strength, I don't think, at that point. And not to argue your point. Like Vader was sort of the master, as he said, by that point. Rey and Kylo they're geysers at this point. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, I got a bit of a parallel to draw here between what you're saying, James. When Snoke's saying the raw, untamed power and saying that it's going to bring something truly special, like that's really interesting to me. Like, I think it goes back. Like, if you look at trailer 1, it's not Snoke talking and narrating at the beginning. It's Luke, and Luke saying, "What do you see?" And she sees the light, she sees the dark, and she sees the balance. Now, I think that's kind of connected. You know what I mean? Whatever Snoke's seeing, it's a combination of both Kylo and Rey in a way, I would think. So I'm drawing a parallel there, or a correlation.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're taking us towards this idea of needing both light and dark. The gray is going to be involved somehow. And I think that scene at the end of the trailer where he reaches out to her, like they're like we talked about this earlier, a yin and a yang to each other. Maybe they are the light and the dark. And
well,
which one's which, you know?
I got to ask you this, James, because you were just talking about it earlier, about that scene in particular. Me personally, I don't think that's the same scene. Like, if you look at Rey, like I said it before, like I think she's wearing, the costume that she has on when she meets Luke at the end of The Force Awakens. It looks like she's still wearing that. And granted, I mean, a lot of people have also said that, it still makes sense from a technical standpoint because people try to point out like irregularities and all that stuff. But personally, I don't think that's the same scene where she's telling him like, I need someone to show me my place. Like, I personally think that's spliced together in the trailer just to get us talking like this. You know what I mean?
Could be. Certainly, a lot of the stuff in the trailer is going to be, misleads, but some of it'll be true. So it's trying to pick out what will be. The other thing that I noticed, or that I thought of as we started doing the show, and I wrote down as a note here, is throwaway. We know Star Wars it throws away bits of trailer pieces that aren't even in the movies. And have you guys, considered that a lot of this might not be in the movie?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we talked about it, but I don't know. I have a strong feeling that a lot of it is, including the dialogue.
Well, I mean, it seems like it was such a smooth production that they got exactly what they needed and what they wanted, but that could also include specific stuff for the trailer. I can no longer count that out. I mean, we've been kind of, I don't want to say duped, but Rogue One definitely nailed us, and there was a few things in The Force Awakens where it's like, what happened to that? Oh yeah, that was gone. It could be,
but it's good that they do that.
I love it
because I was waiting for them to be saved by that TIE fighter, and when it didn't happen, I realized that I couldn't count. It was like getting a free pass on knowing who lives and who dies. When you don't know, it's so much more exciting to watch. And once I realized that not everything was going to be what I thought from the trailers, it gave me even more anticipation and more thrill.
Yeah, 'cause all I want the trailers to do now is give me a tone.
Exactly.
Make me think.
That's what's so good about this trailer is that just you can't really tell who's talking to who and what's going on, but you still kind of get the theme of what I hope the way they're trying to point us toward, But I think a lot of it, there's so much misdirection, so many scenes that are spliced together.
Yeah. Again, I can't put anything past these guys at this point. But here's a question I have for both of you, because we haven't talked about this. In fact, I haven't heard anybody talk about it. But how does this new trailer reframe the big controversial statement from the first trailer, it's time for the Jedi to end? Does this trailer layer onto that at all for you guys?
A bit now that we've seen it progress now. I was thinking about it today because I did watch the first trailer several times recently to kind of compare them and draw correlations. And I kind of have a feeling that, when Luke says that, it's more toward the beginning of him and Rey still.
Well, he's wearing his TFA robes. So
exactly.
It's for the first part of the movie.
Exactly. So I think, I don't know necessarily if he's going to come to his senses, but he may change his mind and start training her,
Well, we know he trains her. We know that much.
That's true. But I think, that could be part of that process. He's still unsure, but I just think it's more toward the beginning of the film, the first or beginning of second act, whatever.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely first half of the movie. No question about that, I would say. And again, maybe
I think it lends way from what I interpret anyways. I think they're probably if I had to put money on it, I think they're probably going to take it more towards something like the Jedi should end as a philosophy because, we've discovered something truer, older, stronger.
Something so much bigger, as per Luke.
I do. I think that. And as much as I was afraid of that before, and it's sort of still like, I hope they do it right, obviously. We shouldn't have to make that caveat every time we suggest an idea. Everything has to be done.
Yeah, I hear that all the time on podcasts, including ours. If they do it right, well, of course. Like, nobody wants it to be done incorrectly or badly or sloppily or cheaply. Of course it has to be done right.
So, right. But I think I'm okay with it. Or not just okay with it, but I think I'm excited by the idea. What was exciting about the original trilogy was I didn't know anything about the Force, and this movie opened my mind to this like super cool thing I could play with and imagine and be and pretend. And like maybe these movies will give us something new to spark our imaginations.
Oh yeah, they're going back to the beginnings of it all. Like just the look on Luke's face when he sees the cliff crack, and just
I want to talk about that.
When he knows what he's starting to deal with here, like he said in the first trailer, it's so much bigger. Like, I think we're really in Snoke too. Like, when he says something truly special, like, there's something going on here that's going to give us an understanding of the Force that it's so much greater and more powerful than we could possibly ever imagine,
Well, Vader alluded to that when he talks about the Death Star blowing stuff up being nothing. But let's talk about the Earth cracking for a second. How far do you think they're going to take that scene? If it's a temple opening, which do we agree that's some sort of like that's the opening of some sort of doorway or temple gateway or something?
Well, I threw it out there in our breakdown last week where, yeah, maybe she's, Luke's been there all this time and he's had some success, but he hasn't ultimately found what he's looking for, and she just cracked the seal.
I think that's it. I think maybe it took two of them. I don't know if it's either way. I think she cracks the seal. But here's my question. If that's the case, we've seen in the animated series when a temple opens, it's like visually impressive. And we've seen movies like Inception and Doctor Strange where they can make live action scenes where buildings shift and landscapes move. Like how impressive is the opening of this temple going to be?
Well, personally for me, I think that scene is more Luke beginning to train her, and it's kind of a representation of her raw strength. Like when he turns around and looks like that, like I think it's her just touching out when he's like, reach out, breathe, all that stuff. Like I just think that's more like he's starting to. I don't know.
I'm convinced it's more than that.
Well, I think she's gonna need that power, whatever she's untapping. I think she's gonna need that to open the temple in the long run. But that cracking of the cliff, I really do see it more as her just having this power that she's not fully able to control yet, and Luke just like looking at like, holy cow, like this is way more than I'd ever thought, kind of like.
Like, are we convinced that?
Well, you could still answer the question though. If there's a temple that's to be opened, live action, they've never done that in Star Wars. They have done it in animated.
It should be amazing.
Is it going to be an impressive thing? Yeah. Is it going to be like in the animated series?
Well, I think because of the primitive nature of Acto, like, I think it might be a little more simpler, darker, baser. And these are different Jedi. Like, I think they're learning new and different things. And again, like being the first temple, maybe it's a little more primitive, but still very cool.
Yeah, there's plenty of room to make it an impressive visual. But are we convinced about Luke's expression? Is it fear that he's like, oh my God, who is this person? Or is it, I can't believe what she just did? I guess
I'm going to go with B.
Because my initial reaction was,
I'm going to go with B.
Like he was scared of the power in front of him. But now, the more I watch the trailer, I guess, I'm thinking it's maybe a little bit of door number 2 as well, where he's like, she did it.
It's happening. It's finally happening.
She unlocked the door. This is it. Here we go. And it could be something like that.
I thought it was that from the first viewing, and I never wavered. I've always thought that's what that scene was.
But then he goes on to talk about how he's only dealt with this raw strength, or he's only seen that raw strength like that once before, and it didn't scare him enough then, but it does now. So that does tend to indicate that he's afraid of, or should be afraid of who he's.
I said, I think that's gonna be one of the first times they meet again, and like when she shows him, okay, like let me try and reach out to the Force and show you what I can do. Once he finally agrees to say like, all right, I'll train you, you know, and then he sees that and he's just like, oh my god. But I want to ask you guys something about that. In that scene where he says, I've seen this once before and it didn't scare me enough then. Who do you think he's talking to? Do you think it's Rey that he's talking to directly? And also, where is he and what is that symbol that's behind him that's on the floor?
Oh, Jesus. I would say yes, he's absolutely talking to Rey. Who else could he be talking to?
Force Ghost, maybe? Like explaining, like what if a Force Ghost pops out and he's like in that tree and they're like, Luke, what are you doing? Come on, man. And he's just like, man, I saw this once before. You were there. You saw it too. Like,
maybe. Who knows? Like, we don't know anything.
That could be our first Force Ghost moment. You know, someone pops up because it does look like there's something illuminating his face a bit. It seems bright.
You could be absolutely right. But I'm as of this moment, I'm pretty convinced he's talking to Rey.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. I agree with you. But I don't know. That just kind of popped in there too because it looked. I don't know. I saw this kind of like a bit of an illumination. Like I question everything about this trailer every time I see it now. It's like who's talking to who, you know?
Yeah, me too. I've rewound dialogue back and forth to see like are they wearing the same glove, the same vest, the same are the boots the same? Like I'm trying to find anything too.
Well, touching back on that, James. So let's just rewind a bit here and talking about you were saying, you know, Kylo extending the hand with the embers, and I was saying Rey with the Force Awakens garb when she arrives on Ahch-To. There's that first thing, and also when I watched the first trailer again, the one that came out back in April, I believe, looks like, you know, Kylo, he's pointing his saber right at one point in the film and kind of twisting it right in front of his face. I don't know if you remember that scene in the first one. It looks like there's a fire behind him there as well. So I'm thinking that those two scenes are the same, like from the same scene.
What if it's...
Yeah, that could be.
Here's a new thought. What if it's at the end of the movie on Crate, inside the Resistance base, and Kylo is face to face with Leia?
I've thought of that too.
And he's pointing the saber threateningly, as we saw in the trailer, either at her or at her entourage, whoever's with her, and the extended hand is towards her.
And that's when Leia's like takes off her shoe and whips it on him, and he's just like, okay, mama.
Starts slapping him around with her purse. Bang, bang.
Get over here.
Pulls him by the ear. Ow, 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 mom.
I'll say I'll be shocked if he's not extending that hand to Rey. Although if it's to anyone else, that's the only other person it could be is Leia. But I'm going to go and say
Luke.
that.
It could be Luke too in a way.
No way.
Uncle, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I killed everybody you love.
I feel like it can only be Leia. And I'm trying not to be too rigid with it, but I feel like everybody else he just wants to kill. And he's 50-50.
Well, I'd say Luke's definitely a percentage there. Rey is definitely a percentage, and Leia as well. Like you got to
sounds like a poll.
Exactly, but I'm saying it's just those three options. Like you can't. It's not going to be expending his hand to Poe.
Could be 3PO.
Could be Hux.
It could be 3PO. You never know.
Grandpapa's droid.
Okay, so what else we got here? Well, can we just say it looks like Mark Hamill is going to act the hell out of this movie?
Yeah, seriously. That's one of the things that I took away off the first viewing. I was like, I was so happy about that. Like, he's so passionate, and I don't know, I just want this for him so badly.
Well, no kidding, man. He deserves more praise, I think, than he gets as an actor.
I got a few things that I want to touch base with you guys on.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Again, I don't necessarily know this is the case or whatever, but I had sent a question over to Talk Star Wars this week. I'm not sure if they're going to read it because they probably were so hit up with questions and whatever in the trailer breakdown. But Kylo Ren? You remember that scene, James? I've talked to Kylo about this because I sent him the email, but he's basically, you know, when he's saying killing the past and all that.
Yeah.
could he possibly be can he be talking about himself? Like in that same scene,
I thought it was self-talk.
Yeah,
when I first heard it, I thought it was self-talk.
Because they lead you down that direction, right? Like you see him smashing his helmet, then you don't see him wearing the helmet all that much afterward. Like maybe he's like, in a way, it's like I'm still kind of confused about that. Like maybe he is kind of giving up that name of Kylo Ren and coming back to Ben. Maybe, you know.
That's not what I thought they were going with it, but I did think it was self-talk the first time I saw the trailer. I've come away from that since then, but that was my first impression.
It's funny. My first viewing, I didn't get that. And then after a few viewings, I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you guys notice, and this is a character, here's a name you haven't heard for a while. Remember Mrs. Gray?
Yes.
From Ads Edition? Well, she makes an appearance in the movie. You guys caught that silver fox?
The Kyber fox?
the crystal
yeah,
foxes.
Man.
Those are so cool.
Those things are super cool.
Yeah, they are going to... And they're going to be scenes... Well, I hope they're in it more than what we just saw, where they just kind of scamper off.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. And I hope that wasn't like, we just don't see them chased in one scene that we've already seen in the preview and that's it. I hope they do something cool. Like, maybe they eat porgs.
Well, they're on crate for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if they could be somewhat domesticated, and then they're kind of sicked on a bunch of stormtroopers and biting their ankles and chewing their faces off.
They looked sentient to me. They looked intelligent. They looked
amazing. I like how they're coming.
Yeah, they look cool, but I don't think they're going to be wild animals for some reason. I
kind of got you there. I mean, they're kind of made of crystal, so hopefully they're special. But yeah, it looks like they're definitely coming to take shelter from the oncoming storm. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So let's take a second and just talk about the sequence with Kylo and Leia, that intercutting back and forth, and just the acting that both of them are putting on in those scenes. It's incredible. What's the emoting from Adam Driver? My God,
Driver is a standout in that trailer, man. As much as everybody's acting their pants off in that trailer, Hamill and Fisher, for me, Driver, man, just his face.
The torture and the conflict on his face.
That guy's got it.
Yeah,
he really nailed some of those scenes.
I'd say Driver and Hamill definitely, like, for me, equal. But oh my God, yeah, the trembling, the look on his face, yeah, it says it all, kind of.
Well, it's funny that nobody's talking anymore about how Star Wars is badly acted or badly written. Like TFA, and I think we can safely say The Last Jedi, I've kind of stamped that out a little bit, because Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver is right at the top of that list, and even Harrison Ford. These guys all put in great performances in TFA, and it looks like that's going to continue right through The Last Jedi, and maybe even taking it up a notch. Like that whole notion that Star Wars is sort of a place where actors go to ham it up is kind of dead now, I think.
Yeah, they're different movies too. It's evolved so much, right?
Yeah, they really have. They're really different. This is such an amalgamation of so many different aspects of Star Wars.
I don't think you get away with that old 70s pulp stuff anymore. It's
definitely a sign of the times. When we'll get into a question later on, but having watched the trailers for the saga and everything recently, man, it's really a sign of the times.
All right, so James, what do you think? Is Kylo going to pull the trigger on Leia?
The trailer sure makes you think he's gonna. No, I think that's a mislead.
100%. I think it's a mislead.
I don't think he can. If they want us to be interested in this character, then there's got to be some sort of redemption arc for him, or at the very least, they've got to make him. Give him inner torment, and if he kills both of his parents, it doesn't make me hate him more than just killing Han. So I don't see why they would take his character there.
Yeah, well, I think last week I don't know if did I mention this, Corey? I feel like that if he kills Leia, I personally would hate him even more. But that
could you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like,
Right.
I like hating him. I think he's a superb villain, and I want to keep hating him. I don't want to root for him. So I think if he takes the shot and tries to kill Leia, at that point for me, it's like, okay, don't try to sell me a redemption story at this point. He's picking off our favorites one at a time here. So I think if he goes down that road, I think if he goes down the road of trying to kill Leia, it's a sealed deal. And it's the same with the other way. If he bails and decides I'm not going to do it, then I think you keep that door open for redemption. But I think option,
which is more compelling, makes it more interesting.
It keeps things more interesting for sure. I'm still sticking to my theory, and I'm more convinced every time I see the trailer that will be completely unresolved. We'll never know if he would or wouldn't, because Poe is going to fly in and interrupt him. And I think we see him taken off in his tricked out boosted X-wing. I think he takes flight in that and rushes out to meet Kylo Ren and stops him right before he may or may not have pulled the trigger. I don't think we'll ever know. But I'm getting kind of married to that take.
Yeah, I like that take. I could hang my head on that.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way. But the only thing that kind of, when I thought about that as well, because you see him turning on the afterburner there in one scene, and the only thing in my headcanon that's kind of contradicting it right now is you also see, like, we're all under the assumption that it seems to be the escape from Dakar at that point in the film, and it looks like Poe's on a transport at that point. You know, I almost think maybe that his ship got trashed at Dakar. You know, like you see it in that hangar.
Well,
that could be great.
Yeah, well,
but
I know what
you
you're talking about.
see him looking out that window of the transport, you know, and he's like, "Oh man, like the whole fleet's getting messed up." But it's possible from that point that he hops into this new X-wing with and just like, I don't care, I got to get out there and save the fleet, you know, like do my part.
Yeah, because I think what we're gonna my theory is that he looks out the window and sees all hell's breaking loose out there. They've been ambushed. The First Order's arrived. So he gets into his flight suit, and we see the shot from the first trailer where his X-wing in that hangar gets destroyed. I think that's his X-wing from TFA. It gets scrapped, and so his plan B is to go for this prototype X-wing with the afterburner on it, and he takes off from a separate hangar. That's kind of my guess at this point.
That makes sense too. They might want to save that for the last battle on Crate, but you never know.
Yeah, is there going to be a space battle while the ground assault?
No,
he's flying one of those janky speeders.
That's true.
As much as we love Poe, he can't be in two places at once. All right, what else?
What? I got something big to talk about here in the trailer. Rey meeting Luke in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see her dive into that cave, and man, when she comes up, after watching this trailer repeatedly, even the first time seeing it, like, you know, she dives in, and that's super cool, and I think that's part of getting into the temple, personally. Once she gets in, she climbs up, and she sees Luke, and the way she stands up, it's almost like a challenging, not knowing stance, and the way Luke is looking at her is super daunting and dark, and foreboding almost, like, it doesn't seem like a cheery situation whatsoever, and it seems like there's going to be a confrontation. And then not too long after in the trailer, we see that it looks like the exact same scene, same environment. Luke's super wet as well. And he's saying, this isn't going to go the way you think. So it looks like she put him down.
Well, yeah, that's another thing we talked about last week, right?
But just, like, imagine, like, take a screenshot. If you guys, next time you guys watch a trailer, just look at her. Once she puts the hand up and then you see her standing up, and the way Luke's standing in the background, like, I got a very dark feeling about that. Like, Luke looked like a bad guy in that scene, man.
Yeah, there's some threatening body language going on there for sure. It's not all warm and fuzzy going on. But is there also something going on there with, is Rey wearing the same clothes in both shots of her where you see her, like, once going into the water and once coming out of it?
I think so. I didn't.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It is, eh?
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right. But yeah, I mean,
It's interesting how she can swim.
it's interesting how she can do a lot of things. We're not going to start questioning her ability to swim, are we?
That's
I think
true.
swimming is more humanly innate than flying the Millennium Falcon, which she did pretty easily.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, no, those scenes with the water and the caves look a little bit scary. Maybe a bit of a turning point in their relationship.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, Ads pointed out something really cool from that scene that we'll come back to.
Yeah, we'll get to that
was
momentarily.
fucking Good catch.
Something I think maybe is overlooked as a talking point, but there's the scene where it looks like Rey is looking at those books. Now, is she the first one to lay eyes on those books?
I touched upon that before as well, and I think it's really quite possible now. We've seen the leather glove of Luke caress the book. It's a caress of longing. I don't think he's saying to her, like, look at these lovely books, like, or maybe he's telling her a story. Who knows? It could be that way, but I think it's her, the way she's looking at them and the way it's lit up so perfectly with that hole in the tree and the light being shown upon it. Like, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting anyhow. Those books intrigue me to the utmost. It's one of the most important things of the film for me. That whole tree too. So intrigued by all that and what it has to show us and tell us. And I think it is very possible that is the case.
That she was the first one to find them?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that way. What about you, James?
I hadn't really thought about whether or not Luke had seen it before until just now when you said that. And you've convinced me that that's, whatever either when they swim through the cave to get into the temple, as Corey suggests, or when she cracks open something.
The tree. It looks like the books are in the tree. That looks pretty evident to me. Yeah,
well, there's a tree scene later too, where there's like some burnt trees. Anyway, all to say, I think that she's probably the first to lay her eyes on that. And what do you think that book is? Is that the Journal of the Wills?
It's definitely got something to do with the Jedi, 100%, because that's their symbol. And again, it's written on paper, which is probably something Luke and Rey have never even seen before. Like, George Lucas made a firm point of saying there is no paper in the GFFA.
Now there is now.
It's true, no? There is now, that's it. So it's ancient, more than ancient.
So if we go a little bit further with this, if Rey is the first one to lay eyes on those books, I don't think she's going to really give a rip about what they are. I think she'll be like, hey, cool, Luke, check it out. There's some books here. And I think that's when Luke might stagger in and go, oh my God, like, there's Corey's caressing coming in. He's finally found him. Like, what he's been looking for all this time is now in front of him.
What if that's the point where he decides to teach her when she's like, basically, like, you see her, like, looking at him. You gotta assume that it's him, and she's, like, puts her hand on that cliff, and she's looking at someone, like, it's probably Luke storming away, like, I can't do this, and like, leave me alone. And then she's all by herself, and she's scared, and she needs someone. And then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go off on my own. And she finds the books, and then Luke's like, I can't believe you just did that. Like, I'm gonna help you now. That could be the turning point.
And maybe she cracks open the mountainside wide open, and it leads to the Force tree and all this other stuff that Luke's never seen before.
Well, it's definitely the tree. Like, I have to say, those books, clearly, like, it has to be the tree that they're in. And if you have to get them through them from caves or whatever, that's fine to me. But, I mean, it's definitely inside that tree somehow.
Now, I guess it also makes sense that if Luke had found them before, why would he just leave them there? Like, wouldn't he have just scooped them up and brought them up to his hut so he can just check them out and read them whenever he wanted, instead of having to go down into this damp little tree?
No, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You can't remove it from this place?
Yeah. And Last Crusade.
I think, yeah, you're probably right. If he would have been there before, he would have taken the book with him.
At least one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm also leaning that way, that Rey's the one that finds them. Has no idea what they are. But Luke knows exactly what it is.
And the signification too, like, or this symbolism behind, like, when you see that shot, hopefully you see that shot in the movie and it's not made specifically for the trailer, from the first trailer, where it's the books on that shelf just so perfectly lying there, and the light is coming through this hole, like, being, like, shown on them. It's like, oh man, like, it looks like a mystical moment now, like you said, like a revelation, a first timer.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that now. But again, leave some leeway there in case that's not the case. You don't get so offended that they didn't do what you wanted.
Oh, I won't. Well, it's not what I want. I'm just saying that caress is selling it for me.
Yeah, the caress is, it's a biggie. I've found what I'm looking for.
It's funny when I get from a certain point of view, I'm gonna caress the book like that. Are you in on that yet, James? Are you a part of that project?
I'm not part of that project.
Well, you are now.
I'm in.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get everybody to, at least locally around here, to sign that puppy before we send it off on its voyage
and read it.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I sort of was questioning, or I haven't decided what I think fully about since seeing the trailer is what's the tone that they're trying to make us think is going with Rey, and is it the same one that you thought they'd take? And what I mean is, did they make it seem enough like she's being tempted by the dark side? Because to me, there's really only that reach out at the end that's from Kylo, that if that's towards Rey, that sort of suggests she might be tempted. And I really thought they'd play that up a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I thought we'd see.
Yeah, go for it.
I thought we'd see a bit more of that, no question. But it's that cracked door at the end, where they're trying to make us think that maybe she would consider going with Kylo after everything that's happened. That she would still actually have a conversation with him and potentially go off with him for whatever reason. So,
wouldn't it be great, in keeping with the theme of Star Wars, if after he extends his hand, she just lightsabers it right off?
Well, someone's got to get. I want to see someone dismembered in this film.
Yeah, that's another Star Wars theme. All right, so without rambling on for too much longer, do we have our big thoughts out from the trailer?
I think we.
I mean, we're going to continue talking about it. We're just going to rope in the powerful friends here, but as far as we're concerned, everything's out on the table.
Yeah,
my cards are showing.
One quick thing, if you guys want to take a look, Manabite on Twitter, he tweeted out, "I looked for it, man. I tried. It's such a quick scene. I froze it over and over, but supposedly it's there." The minute 39 marker of this trailer, you can see the supremacy. He somehow screen capped it, zoomed in, whatever he did, but according to his photo, it's totally there.
That's okay. I didn't see it, but I totally buy that we would see it. Why would we not see that ship in this movie?
Well, I mean, it's so hard to see. Like, I didn't see it in that trailer. Like, we're going to see it in the movie, but in the trailer, I definitely didn't see it, so I thought that was a nice grab.
Cool. All right, so let's take a quick break, you guys, and we'll come back with I don't know. It's shorter in volume of questions this week, Binary Sunset segment of the show, but we'll see how far we can stretch things. So we'll kick things off with ads as we normally do, and we'll go from there.
Evening, chaps. Hope you are both well. Okay, a few questions or sort of observations for this week. So, from the trailer, that wonderful trailer we got, here's a few things that I've read, I've seen, I've noticed myself in some cases. So, the first one is the scene on Crate with the guerrilla walkers. Did you notice the smaller AT-AT walkers in there, which really showed how big the guerrilla walkers are? And also, is that Kylo Ren's shuttle flying in above, do we think? The second thing, we see a clip of Rey diving down into the water, whether that's the sea or a underground lake in a cave perhaps. Did you notice the giant skull on the right-hand side? If you freeze frame, you can see this huge skull there, and there were rumours from before that perhaps Rey would have to fight some kind of sea monster. So perhaps that's a clue. We see Kylo pick up his lightsaber, and in the background you can see the Praetorian guards in their red cloaks. Do we think that this is perhaps part of his final training set by Snoke towards the start of the film? Maybe he has to fight some or all of the Praetorian guards. I'm not certain whether the clip just before that of him in his helmet is actually not from somewhere completely different in the film. And I say that because the shot of him picking up the lightsaber could actually be right at the end of the film, and somehow he is part of saving or assisting a Rey or a Luke maybe in a final action scene. And then I saw this on YouTube, I think, and the shot of Leia, the first shot of Leia that we see, is that Gareth Edwards in a cameo walking across behind her. I believe Rian Johnson was in Rogue One, so perhaps there's a return of the favour. So do with those as you wish. I'm sure it'll be another fantastic show, and I shall look forward to listening. Take care. Bye.
And there goes ads once again with another great question this week, or not question, observations, notes from the Last Jedi trailer. Like I said, this trailer still has everybody's head spinning. So let's try and talk through ads observations here. Where should we start? Yeah, I mean, he mentioned the smaller AT-ATs alongside the ATM-6 walkers, which I think is, I agree, is a really nice touch. It just gives us a frame of reference.
If you're going to call them AT-ATs, shouldn't you call them ADMSKs?
I like to mix it up so that I can cover my bases. That's
fair.
I like having that frame of reference. It was only, a couple months ago that we figured it out for ourselves. I know Jason at MSW had put a post on his site months ago, but that one had gotten past me. So really the scale thing is fairly fresh for me. I mean, it's only been a couple months. So what about you guys? Is it make the ATM-6 all that more impressive?
Well, it's no big surprise to me at this point anyhow. Like you just mentioned the MSW thing, and I actually kind of remember talking about it with you, and James as well, not like a couple months ago, but like 5-6 months ago. They're the first images that leaked of, they were hand-drawn drawings from their site, and they kind of mentioned the size, but I guess more in the recent few months it's come into view the actual perspective. There was that Toys R Us poster that was released, which gave...
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And there's also been some other references on the internet too that are visual for ratio. And yeah, like Kyle just said, it's a great reference point for where the First Order's at. Like, I think their slogan might be "Bigger is better." And yeah, I mean, it's just again like a reference to like where they're at, like what they are trying to achieve, and it's pretty.
Which we still don't really know,
insane.
right? We still don't know what the First Order is really after. Do they just want to be the next Empire?
Well, I see it being more Snoke's endgame, kind of like him kind of playing that entire. Like, they don't know either. Like, they're kind of just cluelessly been brainwashed and following this regime, and it seems like Snoke's got his own agenda with, something truly beautiful. So I don't think that necessarily has to do with he's using them as a means to his own ends.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, I still don't know really what the point of the First Order is, other than just to be the bigger, badder replacement of the Empire.
And this is sort of like a theme too, right? They do this a lot, like to the point of where they get mocked even. But Star Wars, just when something's cool, they make it bigger. Like this Death Star 2 is bigger. Star Destroyer, a bigger Star Destroyer that casts a shadow on that Star Destroyer.
And now one that's many times the size of that huge Star Destroyer.
Right. AT-ATs were big. These things, walk over them. Like, I think it's cool and all, but it's just, I'm not surprised. It's not shocking to see them do this kind of thing. They've done it before. I hope that they're more than just bigger versions. And I think they will be. They look cooler. They look tougher. They got that gorilla shape to them. So I hope it's not just bigger. I hope they're also like, we're going to get some battle action that they can deliver that the AT-ATs couldn't.
Yeah, I think the gorilla posture might make them a little more agile than the AT-ATs, Plus that giant cannon on their back.
They look really dope. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me complaining about them. It's sort of funny that here's a bigger one.
Well, Kyle had kind of touched upon something not too long ago. Since the beginning of seeing them almost, once you see their paws or their hands, their feet, whatever you want to call them, it almost looks like, they can, if these people are taking shelter within a mountain, like it just looks like they can just like pound into this mountain, like just open up that hand a bit and dig right in,
Yeah, for sure.
But this whole thing, James, you touch on something. Just make it bigger and badder and tougher. That has a shelf life, right? You can't keep doing that. So if they go forward with episodes 10, 11, 12, like what are you going to do next time? More gigantic walkers bigger than the ATM-6? Like it gets old after a while, like won't it?
Yeah, sort of. But I mean, I don't think it is in this particular case. I'm anxious to see these ATM-6 machines. They look really cool. But also, like, wouldn't it be cool if there was some other new machine that wasn't a walker, but like a desert fighter that we haven't seen before? I don't know what that is. I'm not clever enough to like tell you, like, I wish it was a hover octopus, because I just made that up on the spot, and that would be lame. But you know what I mean? Like,
at some point they're gonna have to change it all up, right?
Speeders.
Then again, I say that, and if they had completely new monsters and machines, I'd be like, it's too bad that they've completely left the old days, and I miss the walkers and the AT-ATs. So
yeah, but at least by that point we'll have at least 9 movies to fall back on.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah. So Ads had mentioned Kylo's shuttle. I'm pretty sure that's Kylo's shuttle just hovering there, and I think the way they kind of just line up that way. They're just kind of just hovering, standing still. They're pretty static at that point. I think that's, if the camera panned a little bit more to the right, they'd be right at the gate, the blast door of the base. And I think that's at the point where they've completely overrun Resistance defense, and they're at the gate. And I could see them sort of blasting that door with the ATM-6 cannons until it falls in, or they weaken it enough, and then like one of those things I've been predicting for a while, that they use sort of the claws on the front legs of the ATM-6 to rip down that whole blast door. But I think that's what's happening. And then Kylo, of course, lands and storms the base with his stormtroopers.
Did you think that's the scene from the trailer where you see Kylo kind of like he's got about, I don't know, a handful of stormtroopers with him, and he's walking in, and it looks like he's walking on molten lava almost. Like I'm kind of hoping that's Mustafar, which is a bit of a stretch, but it definitely looked like molten lava that he's walking on.
So like from the yeah, I mean again, that's what's so great about this trailer is, that's not the first time I've heard somebody suggest that being Mustafar. But right away I thought, well, there's Crate, and like something has just scratched up the surface to reveal the red minerals, the red dirt, whatever it is, just beneath. And I wonder...
I kind of thought the same thing as well. Like, then you kind of think about, that base has been a Resistance rebellion base for supposedly quite some time. So maybe Kylo's been there before, and that little entrance he's going through, maybe it's like a back door.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought of that. Kylo probably knew all about that place.
Because it does seem like an opening. It doesn't look like... something clawed, it's made a hole for him to enter by, like when they're going into that scene, it looks like here, I'm taking this squadron with me, like follow me.
Well, it looks like the ground is scratched down the shield, right? It looks like maybe something was scraping along the floor But yeah,
it's possible.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There would be a.
It looked like
I don't think the grooves that have been carved out are big enough to be the ATM-6 claw. So it could be something else.
yeah, that's it. It looks like molten lava to me, but either way, just yeah, I like that possibility of thinking that I'm going to take this squadron in from the back and maybe take down the shield so the ATM-6 can actually make their attack.
Something like that, yeah. And yeah, I mean, obviously the First Order is going to storm that base, and I think some pretty nasty stuff's going to happen once they're in. And the final shot, one of the final shots of the trailer with the Falcon screaming through one of the caverns, I wonder if that's sort of the good guys making their escape.
I keep going back and forth on that scene, what that's going to be. The chase scene in the middle, them,
Or what about Poe in the first trailer? But when he's sliding, that's got to be on Crate, no? And the blast doors are closing.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Crate.
For sure, yeah.
What else has Az got for us here? Oh yeah, the giant skull, which I hadn't noticed before.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
no, I had to look at it again after.
Yeah,
I never noticed before, and even on my laptop, it's still quite hard to see. But it almost looks like a giant alligator, I would think. No,
yeah,
something
crocodile,
like
alligator, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So it's so vague to me on my computer and all that it's I almost thought I was seeing it. You know what I mean? Like until it was pointed out, I really didn't see it.
No, I completely missed
Well,
that.
and in his question, he just says skull. So at first, I was looking for a human skull.
Exactly, like he says a giant skull, I believe. So I was looking for like a humanoid giant skull, not a
Me too.
a beast.
Yeah.
No, that's a valid observation, and we have heard that rumor that Rey is going to have to battle some sort of sea monster in this. I wonder if that skull is a relative of the beast that she's going to have to take on.
Or a reference to if they drop that scene, you know what I mean? Sometimes they still like to add those little nuggets in, like, okay, the scene's not there, but here's the reference to.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, it looks like a pretty frightening beast. Anyway. And
do you remember that other creature that we saw? There was that children's book where we see that thing hanging out on the side of the cliff, and there's also been photos taken of it. Do you remember that? It kind of just looked like Sneer times 10.
Nobody knows what that means.
I do. It's from the raccoons.
Nobody knows what that means.
A lot of people do, actually. A lot of guys in the UK said that they watched the raccoons.
Really?
Yeah. It was a thing over there. Dave Donovan. Anyhow, yeah, they knew.
I'm sure Carlos and Tim know. And I'm sure Nathan knows as well. Beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about it on the TSW VIP like quite some time ago.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Must be another Commonwealth connection, right? CBC shipping over or Canadian animated cartoons over to the mothership in the UK.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a Commonwealth thing. But you saw what I meant. Like we haven't seen them in the trailers. We haven't heard them talked about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It looks like a cross of like a walrus sea lion type furry wampa. Yeah, I guess maybe it's like a wampa meets a sea lion.
Yeah, kind of. They're big like that.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen anything about those. What else has Az got for us? Oh, Kylo picking up his lightsaber. And again, here's what's so great about this trailer. Az hinting that he thinks that maybe it might be the end of the film. I think that's probably the beginning of the film. You guys have any take on that?
The beginning of the film, like when he goes to see Snoke to complete his training?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what I thought too.
And and James, like you think? I detect that you think Snoke is talking to Rey, but I thought that
I think that's possible. I don't know what I think for sure, but I think that's a strong possibility that he's talking to Rey when he says. I think both Rey and Luke tell her that she's got raw strength and power.
Yes, I tend to
both
think
Snoke
that
and Luke. Yeah,
I was leaning towards Snoke talking to Kylo.
I was at first, but I've yeah.
Well, I'm definitely 50-50 on that because you could see it in either way. Because again, like he's got that outcome. He could be telling Kylo like, "This is the last piece of the puzzle," or whatever, like help me aid my quest. Or he could be telling Rey, like, you're the last piece of the puzzle and I'm seeing something truly special once I have you in my possession kind of deal. But in regards to picking up that saber, if that shot and that scene is indeed in the film, it's a significant one just because of the framing of it. Like, I know the trailer can be a bit misleading in that regard, but it does seem like quite a significant moment, the way he's picking it up. It's not like he's just picking it up like normal. It's framed. It's a delicate, sensitive moment almost, it seems. So in that regards, it could be like maybe, people have speculated he's picking it up to help. Or it could be just simply Snoke being like, you failed me in The Force Awakens, so I'm taking your lightsaber with me, and you've completed your training. Now you can pick it up again. Like, this is your time. Here's your saber. It's on the floor. Pick it up. Become who you're meant to be, kind of.
And he's still wearing the helmet, right? Which we see him smash later on.
Exactly.
So I'm tending to think that if this is something that makes it into the cut of the movie, that it's I might say it almost might be the opening scene.
Yeah, I would not. I'm kind of on the same page as you there. It makes sense. It seems like a calm scene.
Yeah, I mean, I could blend that with my original theory, where this is Snoke is sort of giving Kylo his version of a pep talk, and then some officer comes in and says, "Oh, we're making our approach to Dakar," and then we go from there. But yeah.
And then Kylo lets out his first rage and kills the guy. How dare you interrupt us? I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again.
I think you just named the show. It works on two levels.
James is back.
All right, so finally,
and Eminem reference is strong this week too.
Well done, friend. Oh boy.
Okay, and then as mentioned, that Gareth Edwards in a cameo role, kind of walking behind Leia, the guy showing zero urgency at all when all hell seems to be breaking loose. What do you guys think?
I'm going to be a hard no on that one. Don't want to burst any bubbles or anything, but I don't know, just kind of looking at Gareth Edwards' stature compared to this guy, he seemed a lot smaller and stockier. This guy seemed a little more taller, lankier. So I'm going to have to say no, that is not him.
Just for old time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with Corey.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I don't really care either way, but and if the answer is revealed before the movie comes out, Corey, we'll be eating snacks on one of us, okay?
Sounds good. I already owe you puts in anyway.
Yeah, I know.
From
hot dogs
Beauty
in
and the Beauty and the Beef.
All right, Ads, thank you, sir. Great observations this week, and let us know if you have some more that you want us to kick around. Okay, now over.
Thanks, Ads.
Hey, James, you never know when you're going to speak to Ads again. I guess you can always just reach out via Twitter whenever you want, right?
Yeah, he hits me up with golf stuff every now and then. We stay in touch. Ads and I are buddies.
That's awesome. All right, so now on to some Bradley banter. Hey, Kyle and Corey, and I guess this week and James. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week and have watched The Last Jedi trailer a million times. This week's Star Wars question is about said trailer and Star Wars trailers overall. I believe Corey had made the comment last week that The Last Jedi trailer at the moment was his favorite Star Wars trailer, and I would have to agree with him. That being said, what is your favorite Star Wars trailer? Better yet, list them from favorite to least favorite. Also include Rogue One. My list is this. Note I'm referring to original theatrical releases. The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones, A New Hope. Funny thing is, my favorite movie is last in this list. The Last Jedi is my favorite trailer for several reasons. The music, the balance of our main characters, the misdirects, it's visually stunning, and it gives us a lot without giving us anything. In fact, it has us asking more questions than before seeing it. All right, so let's stop there. Of course, there is more to Bradley's question, but we'll pause here, and we'll just chat up the first part. So, Corey, the art of making a trailer, this has really changed, right? Like we kind of see the trailers now as events unto themselves.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the first note here I have is these trailers are really a sign of the times. They're all so incredibly different, and that's why I kind of, from my list, I can't really even almost speak about the OT, because not only did I get to experience them and see them as they happen, but I've gone back and watched them over the years, and I watched them again recently, and it's just hard to comment on them because
they suck.
They did get better over time.
Suck.
Well, but they have their own classic little vibe to them that I really appreciate. It's just a sign of the times. That's my whole thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. They're all just representative of where we're at, and I just think that as we evolve with them, they've kind of gotten better and better.
Wait, yeah, I guess like most things, they should get better as the processes and the art gets refined. But man, James, did you watch any of the original trilogy trailers for this?
Yeah, I've seen a few, and I'd seen a few before this too. But you know what it was? It's just the goal was different. The medium, television and movies were just a completely different thing when those trailers came out. It was like it sounds when you hear the guy talking, it almost sounds like someone standing outside of a theater talking up the play. Like it's just so different. It's
like in A New Hope, it's like right now in a galaxy far away. Like it's so awesome. Like I don't know.
It's dated for sure, but like there's something charming about that. It's like when people talk 50s like detective talk. Yeah, you're right, guy. Eh? Like there's just something about that era that people find charming, and that I don't know. There's something to the original trailers that, like Corey says, I've got a soft spot for them. Now, having said that, for sure, this trailer is the best one that's ever been created in my mind.
I think James made that pretty clear by saying that it's the best trailer of all time, and I have to say,
it's right up there. It's right up there.
Well, it has to be, because I mean, just looking at it, whatever they did with it, even if it's all misdirects and it's not what it is,
that's part of what makes it good.
Exactly. Like, they've just pieced it together to the point where we still have no goddamn clue what the heck is going on. And, like, a masterpiece of a trailer, just so well put together from start to finish.
Yeah, because the old trailers, and I'll even include the prequels on this, and I guess there's in the prequels you couldn't really do this, but the original ones, they didn't try to misdirect you anywhere, right? They were kind of like just straight forward. Here's what's happening. Like they weren't trying to conceal anything.
Every generation or every saga has a beginning.
Yeah, they couldn't really fool around too much with the prequels. We knew what this story was. It was just the main story beats in between. Oh no, we knew the main story beats. It was like the minutia that we didn't know. So they could play around a bit with that, but otherwise,
we got like right off the bat. Like I had to again. We just watched these trailers for this question. And like in the Phantom Menace, like you're getting tidbits of stuff that are like, ooh, wow, slaps in the face. The visuals, the way it starts is absolutely incredible. But they're talking about the prophecy already and the boy and all that stuff. So that huge hook for me in that film, that trailer.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm on the special edition trailers here, and even those, like, you didn't need to give me a trailer back in 97 to get me excited, or 96 to get me excited to see those movies. But man, even those, they gave away so many of the new shots. I was like, great. I was going one way or the other multiple times, but even those trailers were not very good. Like,
never saw any of the Phantom Menace ones until after I saw the movie.
Was that was intentional, I imagine?
Yeah, I was ducking out of, covering my ears and la 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 la, watching TV all the time because they were all over TV. But yeah, I hadn't seen a single one until afterwards, and they were a bit lame. But I didn't know that until I saw a movie which I really like, so it didn't matter.
See, I look back now because I watched all these trailers this afternoon in preparing for this question here, And I remember at the time freaking out for each and every one of these trailers. But I look back and, like Corey was talking about how things evolve over time. I look back at these trailers now and they're all so bad. Well, not so bad, but
dated.
They're dated. They look fine. They sound fine. But there's just something about the pacing of them, the way they're cut together, that it's just like they're flat to me now. I'll say
we've been spoiled.
We've been spoiled.
The times they have changed.
But this might be a bit of a cheat. But the teaser for the Phantom Menace, the first one, like Corey, you were talking about a second ago, that every saga has a beginning, every journey has a first step or whatever. That trailer was fantastic, and it's like that one still does it for me.
Because that one, right off the bat, like right before you even see Lucasfilm, like I was all about the Gungans right before. Like, check this guy out. He is gonna be the shit. You know what I mean? Like, you see it, like it's all foggy, slow zoom, like fade in, and there's like it's all foggy, and there's these awesome branches and these creatures riding these things, and you're like, mysticism. You're just like, awesome. Then kind of when you figure out what it is, I don't even know if that scene made it to the movie.
That shot is almost a direct ripoff of
Ralph McQuarrie.
No, an Akira Kurosawa film, Seven Samurai, maybe. Anyway, it's almost like a direct copy of a shot, like
homage.
A lot of Star Wars is, but either way, that shot is it gave me that mysticism to that trailer, and I was like, oh man, this is Star Wars and it's back, baby.
Yeah, no, that trailer nailed it. Remember how much of a massive event that was? Like, everybody ran out to meet Joe Black, and failing that, you sort of at home praying to your 56K modem that everything would work out okay. Like, it was a huge event. I feel like that was sort of the turning point for the movie trailer industry. Like, I think that, maybe I might be wrong, but I feel like that trailer was the one that made trailers a big deal.
That makes a lot of sense from a sociological standpoint. That makes a lot of sense.
And again, I'm talking about the home team here. This is Star Wars we're talking about. Maybe there's another trailer from another franchise that redefined before that.
Maybe The Matrix. But what came out first? I can't even remember.
Matrix came out first, but not by much. Like, I think they may have both dropped in May of that year.
So there you go. Like, I know for sure in The Matrix we saw that 360 shot that was just like, okay, gotta go see this film.
But another thing I noticed is the music. And specifically with the prequels. Like, the prequels used all the original trilogy music, which of course is great.
Yes.
But I think the trailers now that we're getting, I think things go up a level because they're getting music that's made especially for the trailer that just works so much better.
So what, you think the trailers, the music's not going to be in the film? They're not taking tidbits of music from the film to splice into these trailers?
They didn't for TFA or...
I think that was completely original trailer music.
It absolutely was. Same with Rogue One. Yeah,
I guess, I get it with the cellos leading into it all. Yeah.
But maybe, I mean, so much has been different with The Last Jedi that maybe they did, and like John Williams has been done for so long. Maybe some of this is John Williams, but it doesn't sound like John Williams to me. It sounds like another composer's work using John Williams themes.
Interesting. Because I was going to say that trailer was epic in that regard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's music shaped for a 2-minute segment. Anyway, can we rank our favorite trailers?
I can. Like I said, I've excluded the OT a bit. I've watched them and all that, but it's just on a different plane of existence because I never really experienced them live.
Yeah, I can't do the OT either, just because every time, like, we came around to Star Wars after they were already on home video, so there was never any buildup of anticipation via a trailer. And I watch them now and I'm just like, whatever.
And even them, you can kind of say that they got progressively better. But my list, obviously, Bradley knows The Last Jedi. If the last one we saw was still by far the best. Just again, in the sense the music was great, the shots they chose were great. Everything they chose was just so perfect to get us questioning and talking and going down all these rabbit holes and still not knowing a goddamn thing. I think it was just so well put together. After that, Force Awakens, I mean, it had been a long time, and again, it's modern society. I guess the times have changed, and those trailers were very deep. They got us talking back then. What the hell is going on? Again, there were a lot of misdirects, a lot of things that weren't actually in the film, but it was still amazing. And then The Phantom Menace, just because of the build-up. Back in 1999, everything was a fever pitch with Star Wars back in the picture. And I mean, Kyle and I, we've talked about this many times, just our state of mind back then. This was the culmination of so many things. Myself being 18, him being 21. Just a lot of things going on that year. Then Rogue One, because again, sign of the times. Then Revenge of the Sith. And we'll finish with Attack of the Clones. I know it kind of seems a bit biased, but I watched them again, and it's close between Clones and Sith, though, because at the Clones, you're getting a lot of that Star Wars feel, but a lot of romanticism behind it as well. Like, you're seeing the whole full romance in that. You're getting that feeling that they want you to get that feeling out of that clip.
I hear you. All right, James, you want to run down your list?
Yeah, I'm not going to be as comprehensive as Corey because, well, first of all, it's similar, but I'll say that, yeah, like I've said many times, the trailer we just saw is my favorite Star Wars trailer, and up there amongst, I just think it's just terrific. Mostly for the same reasons Corey said. The thing I hate about trailers when I don't like a trailer is when they give away either key plot points or, the whole plot. Some really bad trailers give away the whole movie in 2 minutes. This one was perfect. And we may look back and find out we did learn, more about the movie than we wanted to. But because of the way they've set us up in the past with using footage that didn't make the movie and misdirects, we have no clue. And we'll be guessing until we walk out of the theater in 2 months. So I don't know. It got me excited. It was stunning to look at. It sounded amazing. It got me. The reason I rank it so high is because it just got me so excited to see the movie coming up.
Well, yeah, from where you were to where you are now is almost like a full 180.
Yeah, I was excited and all. I just had so much more trepidation before, and now I'm just really pretty much excited to see what they're going to give us.
Yeah, James Alls, when he heard it's time for the Jedi end, he was like, "I hate you guys. I quit."
Yeah, that's true. But after that, I'd say my second favorite experience with trailers was The Phantom Menace, and I didn't see any of them, but that was really fun. Like for months leading up to it, and really intensely for the weeks leading up to it. Watching any television show was meant running away and having people try to get me to see it. It became a game and a joke for the people who knew me, and so that was sort of a fun experience. And I got to go into The Phantom Menace really completely spoiler free. Like I was unspoiled, even with visual spoilers. I hadn't seen anything. A couple of posters, like the inevitable stuff you can't help but see when you walk into the theater, and when you exist, and that stuff's on cereal boxes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's everywhere. You're going to see something.
You can't not see any images. But in terms of like movie clips and stuff, I hadn't seen anything. So that was really cool. That's my second favorite trailer experience. And then after that, yeah, I'd say the last, like Corey said, the trailers have just come such a long way that, the next ones will probably be the best ones we see because they just keep getting better. And so I'll say, The Force Awakens were my favorites next in line, and the list sort of ends there.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like my list is identical to Corey's. It's The Last Jedi for all the reasons we spoke about. TFA because it's still only a couple years old, but it still holds up really well for, again, all the reasons we spoke about. Then I'll throw in that Phantom Menace teaser just because I think it's really important to remember just the fever pitch we were at. in 1998 when that came out. Like, it was insane. And that's pushing 20 years ago now. We tend to forget, but that trailer just, that really had us going. And yeah, Rogue One, just remember that shot of the Star Destroyer parked above Jeddah City. It was like, whoa. There was just so many great visuals to that trailer. It was amazing. Then yeah, the 3 prequels, Sith, Phantom Menace, and Attack of the Clones. I watch them now and I just go, oh God. And I'll give Revenge of the Sith a bit of a pass because I think it has a really strong opening with Palpatine saying the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities. Blah, blah, blah. I think that was a really cool way to start that trailer.
Well, each one of them kind of have their own flavor, right? In that saga, and in this prequel trilogy, like the first one, you're getting the sense of the beginning, the genesis, and what's to come a bit, what the film's about a bit. The second one, you're getting that whole love vibe and the feeling that Anakin's very torn. And then in the third one, you're getting a very, very dark vibe.
Well, yeah, and we all kind of knew, like we all could have predicted at the time that this is how the prequels are going to play out. You know, we knew part 3 ends with Anakin becoming Vader, and that it was going to be really dark. And we knew that 2 was going to probably end with Anakin and Padme getting married. Like, they just couldn't really hide much from us. But they did a good job, I suppose, considering. Because we still freaked out every time we saw a trailer. Let's not kid ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
Right, let me continue with Bradley's questions here. Like with all the trailers, there are scenes and voiceovers that don't make it into the movie. Like The Force Awakens, I believe we will have scenes that won't appear in the movie. The question is, what will they be? I'm thinking it could be one of Snoke's lines or even Kylo Ren's line about let the past die, kill it if you have to. It's the only way to become who you're meant to be. I think this line is used for theatrics for the trailer. I love it though. Also keep in mind, we don't know what scenes we are seeing are real or possibly flashback scenes. My favorite line in the trailer is when Luke said, "This is not going to go the way you think." Awesome. What could he mean? And my favorite scene is Kylo Ren flying, followed by Finn and Phasma fighting. What's your favorite line and scene in the trailer? Well, boys, I could go on, but I will contain myself and stop there until next week. Have a great show, and may the Force be with you always. Cheers from Bradley. All right, so let's keep chopping wood here. James, I'll kick this one over to you first. What is in this trailer that is not going to make it to the final cut?
Bradley's guess is a really good one, which isn't surprising because he usually does that, and I find three of us often agree with the stuff he proposes. And that would be a good line to cut because it's the one that's so ambiguous. It just, it could be directed at himself. It could be directed at Rey, and it could mean a lot of different things depending on, when it's delivered in the movie and how it's received. So if they cut it entirely, good move on their part for talking us up and getting us excited. Things that I don't think will make the movie beyond that. Man, when I read this question earlier, I was like trying to think of things that I would cut, and everything that I imagined made me a bit sad to think we wouldn't see.
Yeah.
So, like for example, if that scene where she cracks the ground open isn't in the movie, I think I'll be really disappointed. If that's a
or if not replaced by something else, right?
At all. Yeah, but even replaced by something else, I don't know. If the ground doesn't crack open in a scene, I don't know. I think that's a big mislead.
It's interesting.
I think I would miss that one.
On a side note, kind of regarding that, I saw a toy today that is of Rey, and it's with these these huge, pretty big boulders, and the toy is meant to kind of be her with them floating all around her. Like they come with 3 or 4 pegs with all these things that you can put these rocks or boulders into. So it would be her being surrounded by boulders that are 2, 3, 4 feet in length,
That's pretty cool. Corey, what do you think?
I don't know. With this one, I had a bit of a hard time. This trailer in particular, I think, for the most part, the better part of things we saw are in the film, dialogue included. I like that Bradley said, like his take on, was it that he thought that wasn't going to be in the film, dialogue wise. I think that's a good assumption that it wouldn't be. Like we kind of both agreed on the I think it was the first trailer, the just breathe thing might not be there.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it again and again and again, the only thing that I could think that makes sense to me is one of the opening shots of the bird's eye view, obviously taken from a helicopter or something, of Acto. I guess no real need for that shot in that movie, even though it's great. It's a great visual. It could still be in the movie, but I'm thinking the better part of everything we saw is in the film.
Oh, you're just afraid to put your editor hat on. It's all gold, baby.
What would you? It is all gold. What would you cut out of there that? Man, I hope it's all there, but for sure it's not. It's a great question.
It is. I personally think that, gun to my head, I think all of Snoke's dialogue is not going to be in the movie.
Oh, really?
I don't think that's all going to be there. And I'll go further. I'll say Kylo Ren's won't be there either. How's that? How's that for a hot take?
That's pretty.
And I'll tell you why.
I'll
tell you why. I think those were intended. All that dialogue was intended for the trailer, and the reason I say that is because with all the dialogue we see, like we see Luke saying his lines, we see Rey saying her lines. We don't see Snoke or Kylo saying their lines. You might, like at the very end, you see the close-up on Snoke. His mouth is moving, but his hand is over his mouth for the most part, so you can't really see what he's saying. And it's just the word destiny coming out. Like you don't know exactly what's being said. So for that reason, I think it's just cleverly overlaid dialogue that was written for that trailer.
I hope not, because Snoke's lines are huge, man.
I mean, you might get
when I first found you,
you might get similar stuff in the movie, because like a bunch of Maz Kanata stuff that we loved from the Force Awakens trailers were cut. So it wouldn't, and of course it was replaced with other cool Maz Kanata dialogue. I would not be shocked if all of that was cut away. And I think it is worth mentioning that we see Poe speak his line, and everybody we see them say their line. So I tend to think that whatever we see coming out of their mouths is in the final cut. But
it could just be a way, because like the things that they're saying, like Snoke and Kylo, they're so relevant to what's going on. They don't want to give it that actual reference in the movie.
But also that dialogue is so ambiguous. It's so perfectly ambiguous that it could be Rey or Kylo. That doubly makes me think it's made just for a trailer. There's not going to be much need to be that ambiguous in the movie. But anyway, that's just
yeah, you're right.
That's just where my head's at. So do you guys have a favorite line from the trailer?
Yeah, all the ones that are getting cut. Thanks, Kyle.
Actually, you know what? I have more stuff that's I'm going to cut. As far as shots go, I don't see much getting cut out, but I think the insect point of view of Rey swinging around that lightsaber is gonna be cut. It's a very un-Star Warsy shot to me. It's a cool shot, but we don't often see those kind of crazy camera angles in Star Wars.
Could be.
I mean, it could be anything. Anything could get cut. But if I had to pinpoint one that sort of sticks out and goes, that shot doesn't look very Star Wars to me, I would not be shocked if it's that.
That close-up of the Porg might get cut then.
I think that's in it for sure.
I don't know. That didn't feel very Star Warsy to me. I saw that. I was like, oh, Man.
It felt super Star Warsy to me in the moment of watching this trailer, but I don't know how it'll fit into the film once you think about it for a bit, you know? Like, it's almost at the crescendo of the trailer is that Porg. It's like the turning point with that. It's like everyone's like, it's a goosebump moment almost.
I love the Porgs. I can't help it.
I don't dislike them. I just, that moment, I don't know, it's a bit much.
It cut the tension.
Yeah, maybe that's the point. Maybe they need that in that scene. Who knows where it's placed, right?
All right, so favorite lines.
I think my favorite line is when Luke says to her, "It's not gonna finish how you think. It's not gonna turn out how you."
Yeah,
think.
so you're with Bradley then.
It's just the way he delivers it.
Yeah, there's some. It's almost like desperation in his voice.
A lot of doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of doubt. That's a good one. And that whole scene too, like we were talking about earlier, the possible confrontation. I like that, and well, Kyle's calling it that it's narration, but the whole "when I first found you," it's and the truly special part. Like, I'm just so curious as to what Snoke knows and what his end goal, what his end game is in all this. Like, coming from the unknown regions, just obviously having some kind of master plan involving two powerhouses with some end goal. It just seems so intriguing to me.
Yeah, I mean everything, every part of this trailer is just super intriguing, super interesting. I'm with kind of Brad and James. It's just what could put Luke in that position to say that. I mean, I think we've kind of come to the consensus here that maybe Luke and Rey get into some sort of tussle, and this is Rey kind of stepping into her power and getting a handle on it a little bit, and she's going to go rush off like Luke did in Empire to save the day. But Luke knows how this plays out. Like he knows what she's rushing into, and he's telling her this is not going to end well for you if you think you can go take all these guys on.
Or how about this? Like, this is something I haven't heard talked about at all yet. This is kind of just a bit of an offshoot down another rabbit hole, but what if at this point Rey's already been to see Snoke and she comes back to Acto and like it's that confrontation?
I suppose anything's possible.
I mean,
it seems like a lot of stuff has to go on for that to happen, but I can't rule it out. Yeah, I also like Poe's line. He just seems really fired up and full of conviction when he's saying that they're going to burn the First Order to the ground. I love it.
Yeah, something bad just happened there.
Excuse me, guys.
Bless you, sir.
Yeah, we're the spark that will ignite the fire that will burn down. Yeah, that's a great line.
And there's a steely resolve on his face too. Like
yeah, he's firing up the troops with that.
Yeah, it feels like they just got their butt kicked, but he's rallying the troops again.
That's the best part about Poe. I think Carlos pointed it out this week. Like, I had asked him why Poe, why are you so infatuated with him, and he had said that he's like Han Solo minus the scum. Like, he's like a through and through like good guy and a leader, and he's bound for so much more in the Resistance.
Which can only mean he's a double agent, and at some point he's going to turn. All right, favorite scene, lastly, here from Brad. You got a favorite shot or a favorite scene that they're hinting at?
Well, it's kind of hard to choose from, but I mean, my short list is Rey and Luke in that cave again. Just like, what can that mean? What's going down there? Luke being scared with the cliff cracking. Kylo's hand extension. Super intriguing. And his face when he's about to possibly shoot his mama down.
That's for me, that's the most poignant scene of the trailer. What about you, James?
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far away from where you guys were. Definitely the hand reach out scene, the cracking of the ground scene, the crystal foxes I thought were super cool. And just the music, really, the music isn't a scene, I know, but it's like, it really struck me how the music got me fired up and sort of right in the zone right away.
And porgs.
The pork scene, I was like, man, that's a bit cheesy, but I guess comic relief needed too.
Next time you watch this trailer, because I'm sure you will again, but like, check it, like PM me or DM me, whatever, and let me know. Because I honestly feel that's like the turning point of the trailer. It's like hitting the crescendo when you hear them both, Chewie and the porg, go like howl, the both of them. That's kind of like the turning point of that trailer almost. It gets deeper at that point there, you know.
I'll keep a note for it. Yeah, I love seeing Kylo flying that ship. I've been looking forward to that ship since the day I've seen it, the little sketch of it on MSW. I think it's just going to be such a cool looking thing. I'm really, really hoping for that Kylo versus Poe dogfight. That is just too tantalizing to not see on screen. Oh, that would be good. And Finn versus Phasma. I think that's an underrated quick shot that we kind of quickly pass over, but Bradley touched on it. That's going to be awesome. I'm still shocked that we're getting this throwdown in episode 8. And the shot looks really cool too. Just all hell's breaking loose around them. And Finn, he's this guy, you just can't put this guy down. He's going right after Phasma. And then all the stuff that you guys had mentioned, just it all looks so good. I can't wait to see this. But there you go, Bradley. Hope we handled that adeptly. And we shall close out the show with the one and only Katie. And Katie's question this week: if you could change any character's story in the Star Wars universe, then whose would you change and what would you change? If this question sounds confusing, then here's my example. Poe is an awesome pilot, but he also looks like he could be a badass bounty hunter or mercenary. Or just imagine someone like Baze as a Mandalorian warrior. Just imagine there's a Star Wars alternate universe out there. All right, boys. Katie, thank you. That's a great question. And, all right, let's have at it. Who wants to take this one first?
What do you say, James, though?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll start by saying that I think everybody would have wanted to see Chirrut as a Jedi. I think, like, the part of the reason we cheered for him in that movie is he just seemed to be so in tune with the Force. I think I, for one, for sure, would love to see that guy, blind and all, wielding a lightsaber, Kanan style. You know?
Yeah, we talked about this just last week. That it seems there was a rumor that they wanted to pull a blind Jedi from a video game into Rogue One, and then you couple that with the report that Jin's mom was going to be a Jedi, and everything just points to these guys desperately wanting to work the Jedi into the movie, but held off. But so yeah, I mean, this Jedi character that was from the video game who was blind eventually morphed into Chirrut. So yeah, that
who we love. But he'd be a great Jedi.
Yeah, no doubt. Corey, what do you say?
I like your take there. I got a few of them written down here. I don't know. The first thing that popped in my mind, it kind of seems a bit of a joke, but Max Rebo as a chef.
What? All right.
You know, the famous Star Wars chefs. Come on, Kyle.
Well, it's not that. It's that I was kind of worried when I looked at the question. I said, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to change Star Wars canon and whatever." And then she kind of said, "Let me explain it a bit." And she kind of gave us an idea what she was looking for. And you know, that at that point, I kind of took the weight off my shoulders. Said, "Oh, this will be easy." And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, "Holy cow, this is not that easy."
No, it's kind of not. That's the whole point. It's challenging, Corey.
And so Corey made up his own game.
That's fine. Either way, I thought that one was kind of funny.
It is funny.
But
it's super funny.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
how's
reminded
this?
of that time
We know
that
this-
somebody asked us. Oh, geez, I can't remember who it is. To write somebody, pull somebody into Star Wars from Legends, but you had to write somebody out. And Corey just was like turning himself inside out for this one. Like, I have to get rid of somebody from Star Wars, and I was like, no, you can't. And it can't be just like, oh, I'm going to get rid of this little bit player.
I remember who. I think I got rid of Newt Gunray and replaced him with Prince Sizor from Legends. I chose Mob over Separatist and like Trade Federation.
Yeah, I got you. Let's not go back down that rabbit hole. My God.
Okay, how's this? Poe and Kit Fisto as musicians. Poe's the lead man, and Kit Fisto is a big time sax player.
I feel like we're on episode 4 and you're trying to make the Star Wars band again.
Either way, Kit Fisto plays sax. Poe's the lead man.
I remember
we
this
know
game.
we know musicians existed in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, that's a little better at least.
Yeah, all right.
They did it.
Okay, how's this? Han Solo as like part of the Empire. Like he's like a firm army dude. He's like totally into it. He defects at one point and becomes a starfighter pilot, not the pilot of the Millennium Falcon. Let's see Han Solo in like an A-wing or an X-wing. We never got a chance to see that once ever.
Oh, it'd be cool to see him get shot down by the Millennium Falcon, that's for sure. But only because we know him as the captain.
Shot down by Vader.
You know what would be another crossover, Kyle? Before I give you your turn, I'll try to steal from you. Lando would be a great Imperial officer.
He kind of would.
Oh, for sure. With the tight uniform and he'd still carry all that suaveness, but like with a sharp sort of evil backhandedness to him. I think he'd be
I don't
terrific.
see it, man.
What?
I
think
he
he'd
was
be
on my list too.
terrific.
He was on my list for like something. I was like, I gotta get Lando for something, but I was like, I don't know. He's just got the swagger.
Man in uniform, dude.
Whatever, man. Give the man his cape.
Yeah, officers could have capes.
Krennic.
I just don't see him. I don't see him being.
Look at Lando in Krennic's uniform. Think about it. It's dope.
I see it visually, just not the way Lando speaks. He's just got to be that cool guy. I don't see a cool like Empire guy. They're also anal.
Well, this is probably not very difficult to guess, but Lyra is sort of the easy one for me. Like I would love for her to have been a Jedi.
Yeah, Hera.
Yeah, Hera would be cool. I mean, Hera, it is so strange to think about swapping these characters out for a different role because they all seem to be so perfect for what they do. Grievous as a doorstop. That's an easy one for me.
No, he's a hat rack.
Sure. Oh yeah. Or you hang your hockey equipment on it.
Yeah, he would be a great rack to hang your hockey gear on.
Yeah.
So here's another one. Why? This is going to sound like I'm ripping on the character, but I'm not. I would take Jar Jar out of politics as Representative Binks. He has no place in galactic politics. It shouldn't be a thing. It's dumb. However, he landed in that role. You cannot make a good case for it. You just can't. There's no way that dumbbell.
No, you're right. It's silly.
The only thing that works.
It's like Trump being president.
It kind of is a little bit. The only way it works, and we don't know. I don't think there's a canonical explanation as to how Jar Jar became representative. The only way it works is if like Palpatine appointed him as a representative once he became Chancellor and said, "Oh, for your bravery during Battle of Naboo, I'm going to make you Representative Binks, and here you go." And everybody just goes, "Oh, okay." Otherwise, there's no reason why you'd have that guy, and he's a lovable dope. but come on, like, politics are just full of sharks, man. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'd take him, and you could have made him part of Amidala's team somehow. I mean, the TSW guys last week had a great bit on Jar Jar about him like failing upwards. And that's all he ever did, right? For all his clumsiness, he just kept failing upwards.
Yep.
And so you could have put him anywhere else on Padme's team. You could have put him with Captain Typho on security, and that probably would have worked out. And it's still maybe a distinguished enough position for him. But
well, Palpatine needed him where he is so he can make those.
Well, sure. Once
decisions.
He was there, he's like, I can leverage that floppy-eared idiot to make.
Well, I think he was banking on that. I think he set that up for it to be so.
You're saying that what I said at the outset, that Palpatine maybe appointed him so that he could eventually one day manipulate him?
Of course. It's all part of Palpatine's master plan.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's not been explained, but that's the only way it works, because him otherwise getting that role is stupid. And but that also means Palpatine would have had to have predicted. Padme chose Jar Jar to replace her while she was away on Tatooine. He would have had to have predicted that happening too, because she kind of transferred her responsibilities and powers to him.
Bad mood, Padme.
So that was a bad move on her part. Maybe she pulled Jar Jar in. I don't know, but it's stupid to have him in that position. But yeah, I would put him as part of Padme's detail somewhere. Anyway, that's what I've got.
I got one more for you guys here.
Oh, all right.
All right, one more. We're gonna call these guys the Shadow Squadron, and it consists of.
Is that the name of a rock group?
Kind of. It's almost like a Bizarre World ghost crew. We got Cassian, Dr. Aphra, K2, Ketsuo Ono, Chopper, and Ezra.
It's a bit of a motley crew.
Yeah, you got all your character bases covered there. Everyone's kind of replacing someone, and yeah, definitely a motley crew.
Oh, I got one for you, Katie. Chopper as a garbage can.
How about a fire pit?
On barbecue.
We saw that in
Ron Howard Instagram.
Yeah, Ron Howard Instagram. He posted one of like just a old worn down droid that's been retrofitted as like a bum garbage can kind of, or a fire pit.
Is that it? Have we plumbed the depths here?
Chopper and Hera as smugglers. Same kind of deal anyway, but
I wanted to do Cassian as something else. Like Cassian could be I don't know, bounty hunter, pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Like I started with Cassian and K2 as bounty hunters, and that's where my genesis for the Shadow Squadron came from.
K2 could be a bounty hunter for sure. The muscle behind that team. Yeah, that I could see.
Could we do anything else with Saw Gerrera?
Saw could be
politician.
I mean, the whole trick of this whole exercise is to put them in another occupation without like fundamentally changing their characteristics, right?
Saw could be behind the bar at Mos Eisley.
Yeah, I guess you have to.
Bartender.
You got to be kind of unhinged to deal with those people.
Yeah.
What about Hondo as a bounty hunter?
Too lazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't have the work ethic.
Well, that's it. I mean, but his character is kind of fitting to that. Like, bro, like I was super surprised about this when I watched the Clone Wars. I'd never seen that episode, but there's an episode where Hondo's going toe to toe with Anakin, and it's like, what the hell is going on? I think he even one-ups Anakin. Like he gets him. Anakin gets got at the hands of Hondo.
Yeah, because he was fighting super dirty, right?
Yeah, he's fighting dirty, but at the same time, like in their saber combat, like Hondo had some kind of like electrified thing. Anakin had his saber, And they were going at it for quite some time. Like, it's not like you dispatched them right away, you know? And then finally Hondo gets the upper hand. So he could have been
I gotcha.
He could have been like a Cad Bane type.
Yeah, Cad Bane's cool, man. Yeah, we got to do more with Cad Bane.
He's our lead guitarist with Poe and Kid Fisto.
Yeah, he seems like he might have the long dexterous fingers.
Exactly.
He's a bass player, dude.
See that too.
All right, Katie, thank you very much for that. And thanks Ads, Bradley, and the aforementioned Katie. Great questions this week. Love the extended trailer talk. I can't believe we squeezed like a whole episode out of a trailer that we squeezed a whole bunch out of last week. It just goes to say how amazing that trailer was.
Yep.
You think it holds up over time? Like 10, 20 years from now, we look back at this trailer and go, oh God, how did we talk about that thing for like 3 hours?
I think it might be, because by that point, I think we'll be about 5 years into a whole new platform of watching movies.
Yeah, we could be. You never know.
It's not going to be watching on the big screen anymore, man. It's going to be... We'll still have that probably in a way, but I think movies might become a lot more interactive in 20 years.
Very possibly. I just wonder, like, Corey, the evolution that you talked about, does it continue on? And then we look back at trailers being made today and go, man, they're so silly now.
It's hard to imagine at this point, because again, like, how badly did the Phantom Menace blow our minds? And now we look back at it and we kind of see through it a bit. But this trailer is one for the books, man. The way it was put together, the way it got us thinking. It's definitely going to be relevant for quite some time for me anyhow.
I think so. I hope so anyway. Anyway, again, thank you everybody for the questions. Thanks for listening. This week, another big week coming for Tumbling Saber on the heels of what's been a really crazy past couple weeks. But we got Bridger Transmissions dropping somewhere around midweek. We're going to break down Heroes of Mandalore. That's coming right about now. Corey, are you around for that?
I'm not sure what's going on yet, to be honest. I leave on business tomorrow. It's kind of upsetting. And I'm not 100% sure as to when I'm coming back yet. So I'm going to do my best to get here. If not, we'll figure something out, I'm sure. If I'm still down there, we could probably still record. I'm going to bring my microphone with me and all that, so...
We'll figure something out. Hopefully you get to see it while you're down there. Otherwise,
I'm seeing it. Like, I think it's available to view right about... is it now? Or is it like...
Yeah, very, very shortly. I think you can probably watch it right now.
10 minutes, no?
I think so. I think you're about right. So you could stay up a little extra late tonight and watch it, and we'll hopefully get you on the recording on Tuesday.
I hope so.
And our powerful friends will get a new Worthy of Recognition. Can't wait to record that. It's going to feature the duo of Tim and Troy from the Nerd Room.
No way!
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a big get. I'm happy to be able to speak to those guys.
Awesome.
And so head over to patreon.com/tumblingsaber to become one of our powerful friends. And you'll get those podcasts early. And you'll also get Sith Disturbers, which is exclusive to our Patreon supporters. You also get Journals of the Willing, Saber Rattling, all kinds of stuff. The giveaways.
Transmissions?
That's open. Bridger Transmissions will be public.
Nice. I like that.
Hey, guys, are you there?
Yeah.
I missed you, but you're back.
Yeah, we're still going, James. You fell off the call for a bit?
I guess you couldn't hear me. I certainly couldn't hear you, but I'm back for now.
I heard that.
Right,
I heard that you fell off. I was just being professional.
Well done. It was the first time for everything,
well,
Corey.
So much for that. There we go. So yeah, patreon.com/tumblingsaber. Become a powerful friend for a couple bucks a month, and you get a chance to win a real sweet giveaway. One that we've been alluding to, which you've probably figured out already, but we got it like a year's worth and growing.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
Get in on that. Get in on that. And also being a powerful friend will also get you in for take part in this journey that we're going to send our copy of From a Certain Point of View on. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk with Mark over at TSW and figure out how we're going to get this thing kicked off on its maiden voyage. So there you go. And if becoming a powerful friend is not yet in the cards for you, then just drop us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called now. And just tell us how much better life gets as a result of listening to this show. And that's it. So make sure you check out StarWarsCommonwealth.com. Here's some of the great shows like TSW, Talk Star Wars, The Nerd Room, Gen X-Wing, the Rogue Squadron Podcast, Skyhoppers, and San Diego Sabres. You would think it gets easier to remember all those names, but it doesn't. And Corey, your Twitter handle, where can people find you?
Well, Kyle, people can find me at Chop Rules with a Z.
And James, where can people find you on Twitter if they want to keep begging you to come back more often?
Well, I'd love to get begged for anything, but Tommy Bombadil 1, and you know what? I think if people want to give me some feedback, it'd be great, because the only people I really hear from are you guys and ads and the boys at TSW. So hit me up. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, don't be shy. Get on your little Twitter machine and pull out your keyboard and say something. Come on now.
Dave Donovan too. I hear from Dave. We talk Lord of the Rings.
And golf with ads.
Yeah. All right, so I do hear from some people, but I'd love to hear from more.
Absolutely. So come say hi to all of us. I'm at Tumbling Saber on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And thank you all for listening to episode 97. Have yourselves a great week. I hope Star Wars comes around with some interesting news this week to chew on. But we'll catch up with you all later.
Watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me? Was it just a dream? Just a dream. And I believe I can save you. Just don't let